ladies and gentlemen. This is a Happy Hour podcast, fully fermented. Of course, this is our second Legends Roundtable. And of course, last time we had the same three gentlemen with us, and they're back again. And of course, we had to deal with rain and just all kinds of other things that, of course, happens when you do stuff like this. But you three are here, so we're going to start off with looking at the current state of Maryland wrestling. If there's one person that's working currently that you guys would want to work, who would that be?
You didn't work prior. I don't know what you call it.
We talk about good kids out there. I mean, like I've seen here lately, I do photography on the side, and I've seen a lot of the new kids. MCW's put out a lot of good guys. ACW's got a couple of guys. I don't know who the top would be.
That Andretti kid?
And well, he's not
a Baltimore guy, right?
Yeah, he's a Baltimore guy, but I mean now he's gone to AEW. I don't know, man. Ryan McBride would be a good choice.
You worked Ryan when he was younger?
I refereed with him. I never worked.
Okay. I never knew you guys never worked against each other.
He was like the next generation. He was just coming in.
Gotcha.
I don't know, man. Like, who would be the one that you would want to?
You said younger guys. You said Ryan, who's like 40 now.
Well, I mean, so Bobby's like,
Bobby's young.
like, for me, if I could choose, honestly, I've always been a huge fan of TJ Sykes. Like I see a lot of how I worked as a heel
One of my best
in
matches with
TJ Sykes, and I'm like, if I were to come back, he's always really creative with promos, and with the Legion, we were always creative with promos. And I was like, I think the promo stuff will be really cool with working with him, and that's the one guy I could think of. When I came back and worked.
He's going to Europe too, right?
Yeah, he's wrestling in the UK.
Yeah, because my friends over in Europe, I've seen some photos and stuff. But
You got friends in Europe, Bob.
I'm trying to.
Bob's got one of Bob's still up there.
There was a group of kids that came over South Brandon.
Yeah, I remember them. Yeah.
They would come.
Went to the Lord of the Ring and stayed for like a month. Yeah.
And they were great kids.
Hell yeah, they were good guys. Yeah.
But Gary, I remember.
Yeah. The little guy. Yeah. He was a good worker.
Just trying to think, because like the list, there's a big list now. I mean, like I said, shooting ringside, I see everybody, and I get the feel for the new age wrestling, which is different. Like all these kids are worried about now is high spot.
Yeah, so what would you?
So pretty much AEW.
I mean, count three. Why do you think I referee?
No, I'm saying, how would you look at somebody that's your referee, and how would you even consider like, we're going to work this guy? If everybody's just doing high spots.
Because he could teach him how to do other shit.
No, they're teaching.
No,
They're doing high
To me, the layout, but it's a truth. Kids of today, you can't.
that's
Well,
true.
that's the thing. Like for example, Ruckus does those high spots, but he also knows how to work.
Yeah, he's
That's
And
the
I
thing.
see that there's a difference between old school and new school.
Yeah.
He's in the middle
Yeah.
because he came in just as it started. See, I came in just as the territories collapsed. He came in just as working collapsed. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not about going out there and working 30 minutes anymore. It's out there, what, 10, 12 minutes and you're done. And that's, but back when I first came in, like shit, you go a show, 5 matches, you better be able to work 30 minutes because you gotta have like a two and a half hour show. But there are a couple of kids today that are really into the fact most of them had to get hurt first, then they learn their lesson.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with it with the flips and stuff like that. But when he worked with me, he worked down to me. Like, and I worked up.
I don't think that's working down to you, Bob. Like, I don't think the way you
I'm saying as far as the flips and stuff, because I didn't do any of that stuff. I would catch him. Like, I can catch you, but I'm not my fat ass.
Like, what's the deal? Like, when I work a couple of them kids for Rambo, I would be like, all right, give me your 3 big high spots.
Right.
Like, what are your 3? And they would give them to me, and then I go, okay, well, we'll do this one here, and then we'll do this one there, and then we'll go home with that one. I'm not going to go boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
And hit all your high spots.
The kids nowadays are doing flips just to do flips.
Yeah.
If you look at fucking Shawn Michaels or Owen Hart, those guys, they're doing the shit, but it's in the context of a fight.
Yeah.
And that's where Claude was. When you came in, we were working, you did all that stuff, but it was still in the context of an athletic struggle. It wasn't just doing it for the sake of doing it.
Yeah,
That's,
now it's all about me, I.
Yeah.
That's honestly, they can say what they want, and the guys can get pissed at me for saying it, but that's not what it's about.
Yeah.
It's about you, when you're on a show, if you're not gonna make the show better, you shouldn't be there.
dude, after this, I can see Bob work a 20-minute match and do nothing and still have a better match than guys do 800 foot. And he's got psychology. And people are into the match.
Well, it's not just the psychology, but they believe.
Exactly.
Because the difference is, when you're doing this stuff, move after move after move after move, and
How
you've done both.
How are you not dead after all that?
Well,
shit?
it's not dead, but it's like, it makes no sense.
Right.
If they forgot, they don't know how to sell.
Right.
That's the biggest thing, and I've heard so many people, Dan McDivitt had a meeting the other night, I was at his job place, and he was telling the kids, like, the whole idea, if you don't sell,
They ain't
then
gonna believe
how
it.
the hell do people believe it?
Right.
Yeah.
You know, like, you're not super.
How does the heel get heat and how do you get sympathy if
Yeah.
nobody's selling?
I mean, and not to say that there aren't some guys that can do that shit and it comes out good. It would be back from our day, the rockers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because Sean and Marty would just pop, 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 pop. But at the same time, when Earthquake, Typhoon, the Nasty Boys, whoever grabbed the hold of them, they.
Sean was some
sell.
amazing
Yeah.
seller. Yeah.
So, you know, but the art of selling has been going a little while now.
Yeah.
I mean, I watched Monday Night Raw, about 20 minutes in, I'm done.
There's,
Yeah.
I mean, it's because it's 3 hours.
Yeah.
They gotta squeeze 5 hours worth of stuff in the 2 hours and what, 12 minutes of
Yeah,
content?
I mean, that's the thing, it's like, now it's just, as Bob said, moves. So like, I used to hate it when I went back to EWA to train the guys like a year and a half, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
None of them knew how to fucking sell. And like, I'd be like, all right, put me off the road, give me a close line. I'd bump down, make a loud sell, and I'd be like, you hear how it echoes in the fucking school?
Yeah.
Like, you need people who are 15 rows back, people who are in a full arena.
That's why I need the facial
Here you
expression.
sell, you need to make facial expressions. Like that's, and
It's almost like
You
they're
know.
all wearing a mask.
Yeah.
Because back in the day, a mask guy was a pain in the ass to work with
Right.
because if the people couldn't see that he's in pain.
Yeah.
I knew
it-
that
it
from
doesn't
Goldberg.
work. Right,
That we had to improvise as the Legion because
because then
You
you
know,
would be a cell with your hands or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
But like I said, today, like these guys are doing this shit, but they're only working 2-3 times a week, maybe 4.
Yeah.
You know, and that's a busy week.
Yeah.
Back in the day, you were working twice Saturday, twice Sunday, and every day of the week.
Right.
yeah,
These kids couldn't do it, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, the best analogy I ever heard was from a great guy, and like he said, in our day, it was the same wrestling business, and we didn't hurt each other, and it looked great. Now it looks like shit and it hurt.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's what Cornette said.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
If you guys from anywhere you guys have worked, who do you think are if you guys could choose one person, was the one person that you thought was the best person you've ever worked? Who would that be?
Market Streets.
Okay,
Best person that ever worked?
yeah,
As far as what, length, like a length of.
not
like,
length, but
match?
you knew like after
Best
working that match,
chemistry, best.
like best
Yeah,
chemistry.
me and
like-
Marcus, just
like,
'cause
like, let's
it
say
was so
if like me and you knew we were gonna work, you're like, oh man, like that, this is gonna be good. Like, is there anybody that you got in the ring with? And you're like, oh man, like for example, like for me, I feel like me and JD Roberts, the series of matches we had, like we knew we could beat the shit out
Oh,
of
so
it.
you're talking about on an independent level?
Yeah, independent level, any level.
I gotta say, honestly, even though Marcus is my favorite opponent, well, I'm not just saying this, Bob was always so smooth. Like every time I got
Yeah.
with Bob, like I knew he was a pro.
Well, the thing, the way I was taught was, it doesn't matter if it was you or if it was Rick Steamboat.
Right.
The kudos to me and the pat on the back was that nobody ever got hurt.
Right,
You know
exactly.
what I mean? And it's like,
Your shit looked good, but you never felt it.
yeah, I
Me,
mean,
I learned from everybody.
Yeah.
So it's like anybody I get in the ring with, I usually come out of there
Yeah,
knowing something new.
yeah, and you've worked,
Um,
dude, you've worked everywhere.
Yeah,
Like,
I
I
really,
mean,
I really can't pick one person.
yeah,
I mean, I had good rivalries. Like me and Trent Acid,
yeah.
we
yeah.
go at it all the time. The good matches. With me and
Well, you and
Frazier.
Trent traveled a good bit
Yeah,
together
yeah.
or whatever,
they went
right?
around the world.
Yeah,
Yeah, me and Frazier, Derek Frazier.
Okay.
Yeah, real.
Oh yeah, you and Derek. it's
Another guy that I
Andy,
missed,
too.
I wish he was still around. I mean, if his body, I think it's his knees, right? With Derek.
Yeah, yeah.
oh yeah.
He was phenomenal, you know?
His
Um,
first match in WWF was with you, and that was
Yeah.
off the charts.
What?
The crowd was popping like shit.
I remember when Derek first came back from his like initial knee surgery that he had,
Yeah.
I got to work it and we had a great match.
He,
And,
he,
you know,
because he gets it.
Yeah.
You know, he was a good mix of high spots, but he learned how to work.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And like I said, AEW the other night, I watched a little bit of it. I DVR'd or whatever. I get home in the middle of the night, I'm watching it, and I'm like, this sucks. Because no. Understand why though? On their TV, they never go to commercial.
Right.
When the commercial's on, you still see what they're doing, so the guys never
Oh,
get a
really?
break ever.
Okay.
And they
You know
do
what I
their
mean?
big spots during the picture-in-picture sometimes.
Yeah.
The ones,
And-
the
and I
Cody,
mean,
the
that's
Cody,
just-
It's
dude,
that.
the Cody Brody Lee dog collar match, the picture-in-picture spot was a pile driver off the apron through a table. Like, what, like, why?
And well, in honesty, that is the company and the referee's fault. If
Yeah.
I'm a commercial, I shouldn't be doing nothing like that. Yeah, you could still work and do stuff, but if you're gonna do something big like that,
Yeah.
it should definitely be when they're off commercial.
At least the
'cause you
break
need-
spot.
Well, you need to hear the commentators sell it,
Yeah.
and like.
That should be the break
that's
spot.
just-
Like, oh my God, are they dead?
So what do you think they do? Like, because normally I can always predict when they go to a commercial, action spills outside.
Hmm.
And then like literally 5 seconds later, I'll tell my wife or whatever, all right, go to commercial break. I'm gonna go up and get a beer or whatever. Like, should they like do something like to make you want to watch in the commercial break? Like,
Yeah,
like-
like a
change
gimmick
it
or
up,
whatever.
or how come you never see a match end?
Yeah.
During the,
Like,
exactly.
When you think back, like old school Raw, like they would sit there and be like, "Oh, the match ended
Right.
during."
This is what
yeah,
happened.
yeah, or they leave you
To
with a
make it-
cliffhanger of the
anything
match
can happen.
doesn't end,
But-
and then you have to tune in
They
next
used to
week.
even
Yeah.
say, if it ends during the break, we'll show you what happened.
Yeah, yeah.
To be honest with you, if you think about it, that's, the business is a mess because of that.
Yeah.
Like, there's no surprises, the biggest surprise you see now is the damn Royal Rumble, and that ain't all that anymore, like it used to be.
Yeah.
It used to be who's coming out, it could be Sergeant Slaughter, it could be, way back, George Animal Steel, any of those guys, not anymore.
Well,
The guys that are coming back are guys.
Guys that have been there.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm kind
of hoping for
He
Mania.
was ever in the Rumble. I don't think
I
Steel was in the
don't know
Rumble.
how- Yeah, he may have been completely out by
Yeah,
then.
he was out by then. I
Was
think.
it because the
Because I
first
know
one
they
was
had, like-
88, right?
Yeah.
Well, like. the
Out
one
or
year-
out of it?
Remember they
Oh, well,
the
yeah.
1 year, that was hilarious.
Oh, yeah, she.
Oh, yeah.
Walk down
Like,
the aisle, walk in one side, got two back the other side.
Somebody, didn't it take him so long to get to the ring that the next person came out?
Yeah.
Rumbles that happened.
Lawler-
He got to the
By the time he gets to the
Like, the next person came out and walked past the chick,
Yeah.
strutting down there.
Now with Mania, there's that rumor that they might do something with LA Knight and Austin. If that happens, one, that puts LA Knight over huge.
But they
because
already,
of
they already,
some-
they already killed it.
like,
He won last night. He beat Mysterio. So they're kind of building
he
back
beat-
up a little
he
bit.
beat
Okay,
Mysterio.
I didn't see that.
Dominic could have run in.
I feel like with the yeah thing that he does, could you
Yeah, the
imagine the
what,
what
yeah.
and the yeah and the what and the yeah? And with Mania, since it's 2 days, you now have incentive to buy both days because you can set something up night one and go, okay, well now tomorrow night, this match is going
And
to
then
happen.
you don't need Austin to be on TV prior.
Right.
Yeah.
Like
And
literally
then-
with Austin, you can heat that up in literally 24 hours.
Oh yeah.
But the problem is it would be an amazing surprise, the pop that they would have got. See, it's a double-edged sword because if they don't announce him, then they miss a bunch of extra buys. But
Yeah.
imagine if brother goes out there and that kid does great promos.
Oh, yeah.
He's in the middle of promo in the glass break.
I think that's what they're gonna do.
WrestleMania would lose their
Oh,
shit,
yeah.
but it doesn't matter now because they've heard.
They've already
anyone
sold
that's
out.
in the union already
It's already sold out.
That's where Austin might be.
I mean, now-
By doing that.
Yeah, now it's the kind of thing that with it being on the internet, like me thinking mentality wise, I'm like, if it doesn't happen, I'm gonna be super disappointed. So, but if
But
it
that's
does
usually
happen,
what
people are
happens when
gonna,
you
yeah.
sit down to pay-per-views at all.
Yeah,
It's not
just
like,
wrestling in general.
all,
Well, no,
all,
you gotta, the bloodline thing is the best thing in
Yeah,
wrestling in the last 10 years.
that's what everybody's saying.
It really
Yeah,
is.
but
There's
it's
so many
good.
different twists and turns to it. And
It's
Sammy's,
good, but look
Sammy's,
who's in it.
yeah,
The Samoans, right?
right.
God bless them all. I've worked with a lot of them. I mean, I was too young for Alpha and Sika, but I
You
knew
work a lot
Alpha
with
well,
Sam, yeah.
but I worked with Sam and then the kids.
Oh, yeah, Lance, I worked with
Alpha
Lance,
Junior, I was his first match ever. In Allentown, I think it was. And Pops just came up to me and said, "Can you help me out with my boy?" And he never forgot that,
all we were there to do was a ring rental, and I took care of his boy. We went every show from then on that, you know. Sam was a great guy.
Oh, yeah.
And I just saw not long ago that they actually have a figure coming out tomorrow, which is
Really?
Oh, yeah. Is he doing, how's he doing? Everybody got cancer and stuff. Is he doing that?
He had some health issues as far as I know. Everything's cool. I know that there was a show for John Rambo to help him out with medical bills. He had a stroke several months back,
Right.
and Sam was at that show.
Oh,
And they still, I mean, but the entire Samoan family, like if you tag their name to it, it's always
Oh,
worth.
yeah.
You know, it's just it's the way it is.
Yeah.
And Lance is over in is it TNA now or
No,
MLW?
Because actually, I just saw a photo of John. It was John with Brandon Scott
And
and
Lance,
and
yeah.
Lance. And they both
Lance
had
is like
like
tag team champion.
Don't ask me about TNA, cause I'm like everybody else. I don't, I ain't seen it.
It's still a thing?
I don't know where you watch
He
it.
still runs. Scott Demore, from what I understand, is running the deal up in Canada. But like the problem, like I shot him a message once. I'm like, dude, I'd love to see your shit, but I can only see it in clips on
Right.
YouTube
Right.
because my cable company literally charges more to have access to whatever channel.
Yeah.
And it's like, bro, can't do that.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't pay to see WWE. I'm not
You
paying.
can't even watch it on the Fire Stick. Like, I mean, you know what I mean? Like,
Chad's like, God damn it, I can't even get on the fire.
I'm
Well, I
with-
know
I'm
you had that
with
Roku.
Bob on that. I can only like
Yeah,
see
I'm
it
not
like
paying to watch it.
clips on.
The only
you know?
TNA I see is they have something on the Roku channel, which is like a
Oh,
TNA
that's
channel,
But
which is like a loop of
just
just old
shows
stuff.
them all, and then
But they
once a
show
week they
you
have a live show.
Yeah.
I didn't know Roku was still a thing.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it went from, you really didn't have a choice when WCW disappeared,
Yeah.
but watch WWE. And now people have a choice. When AEW first came out, I was a super mark for it, like all the other old school boys.
And then you
I saw
started.
the
You saw what it
Yeah,
was.
yeah.
And I'm not down on anybody. They all work their ass off. And the young buck kids, at first I had a really bad opinion of them because I saw something they did in California with like they had like thumbtacks glued to the bottom
No.
of the shoe and they super kicked this girl.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like I had a few of the boys that I respect jump on my ass because I gave them guys shit, but 1 centimeter off, one of them tacks goes in her eye.
Oh, yeah.
She's blind for what?
Yeah.
For an indie shot?
They're
Right?
professionals.
Well,
They're
I-
young bucks.
Now
It's
it's,
thumbtacks on a wrestling.
Well, Matt Hardy like jumped in my shit about it, and I understood afterwards. I got it. These kids are super talented, but the thing of it is, they're super talented. They don't need to do that dumb shit
yeah, yeah.
because they are talented. But it's hilarious how since AEW has started and ran, how they've changed.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like the thing with all the flippy shit, you're only gonna do it so long, then you get hurt.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like you can't. When you have to be on the road, that's the thing with these schedules. It's amazing. It's like the big companies almost like working for an Indian.
Yeah.
Because they're only working a couple of dates here and there, like Tony Khan, from what I get, they have a couple of house shows.
They just did their first one last week. I
Did
think.
they? Yeah, they got like a couple of house shows planned. I hope it works for them, because anymore WWE don't sell shit once it's TV.
I think the Young Bucks, I mean, in the last few weeks, I noticed the Young Bucks have really kind of toned it down. I think they've really kind of like,
Do you think it might be because there's a rumor of all their contracts are up and WWE might be trying to offer them big money and they're like, well, if we go there, we're gonna have to tone it down.
I just think they got smarter and they listened to Cornette bitch out of it.
Probably. You're not getting younger.
I'll be honest, just my opinion, because like I said, I barely know the guys. I've met them a couple times at like Starcast and stuff like that. I think they'll go, and I think they'll walk out.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think they're gonna be happy because
They're not gonna be allowed to do all their shit.
they will never get the creative open like
Yeah.
they do in AEW.
Which is a problem with
Same thing with
AEW
Omega.
because it's kind of like the WCW effect. So many guys have so much creative
Yeah.
that I
Well,
feel like it's kind of a
WCW, the problem was is nobody was the damn boss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if you weren't part of the NWO deal with Eric Bischoff, like nobody knew what the hell they were doing.
AEW is the same way though, because yeah, Tony Khan technically is the boss, but he's letting guys do what they want to do. Like he's not gonna tell Jericho no to anything.
Yeah,
No, because I
Jericho pretty
think
much
Jericho's
booked theirs.
deal, he can do whatever he
Yeah.
wants. But at
But-
the
but-
same time, Chris won't take advantage of it.
Right.
I mean,
Like,
Jericho can do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
He really can't do whatever he wants. He
Right,
still
right,
has to
right.
go through a
Right.
political filter. Somebody has to go,
I mean,
okay.
It's a very thin filter.
it has to,
It's not-
it has to
Jericho's
be-
not stupid. He's not gonna,
But
Why would you take anybody to Jericho? You did everything.
Yeah.
You should be able to do everything.
Yeah.
Slowly but surely, without people realizing it at first, Chris Jericho is just like a Ric Flair.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he's been everywhere, he's done it all.
He's won like almost every single
Yeah.
championship.
He's one of
you
the
could
greatest.
possibly win. Yeah.
And I'd be willing to bet the money he's making now. Between
Oh, yeah. His
between
family's set.
between touring, doing the Fozzy thing, and then coming out there and them flying him on a, you know how much it costs to fly a private jet?
This guy's playing.
Yeah, they bring, that's what I'm saying. Tony brings him in from wherever he's at and flies him right back because he's got to get back on the road with the band.
I didn't know any of that.
Yeah.
Jesus.
It's funny. A funny story. Here we go. Finally, the first fucking story today. I'm in Orlando, Florida. I'm in Orlando and we're doing TV for Worldwide and Pro. And somehow or another, I ended up with Nick Patrick and the Armstrong's place. Like we all had condos we were staying in. So I go over there, we're gonna eat dinner or whatever. And I didn't know Chris Jericho and open the door and here he comes walking in. And like he was really quiet, really cool. And we all went to Baja Beach Club that night.
Okay.
And Chris was great. It was just, and he was just walking in the door. So I saw him when he was literally not nothing, but coming off the indie type thing, and boom, catapult. He never got a chance at WCW. Like people go, oh, we got the cruiserweight title stuff. Yeah, but he didn't get a chance to show his real shit. When he went to Vince and this thing that he's done over and over again of reinventing himself. Like Cornette says it the best. How are they supposed to miss you if you never go away?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And Chris would just be like, I'm out, see you later. And then, I don't know if it would be one of the writer's ideas, Vince's idea, whoever's idea. Hey, Chris, why don't you come back? Boom, you're on the road for the
But
next 60.
he would come back and he would reinvent himself.
Yep.
He would have a different look,
Yep.
whether it be a hairstyle,
Yeah.
whether it be a twist to his ring attire, because he didn't do it. He only has.
That light up
If
jacket.
you're
he
gonna be
had.
around that long, you have to take it the same thing.
He's only got the same five moves.
The most expensive pain in the ass piece of ring gear ever, that light up jacket.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Imagine transporting that thing around. Like, does he transport that, or do you think WWE was transporting that around?
If he was wearing it on house shows, he had to. If he didn't wear it on house shows, then it would be in a.
He wouldn't wear it on a house.
Yeah.
That would be a once every three months.
Yeah.
But you could see it in his face because he would come out and the lights weren't blinking right, and they just happened to not come on.
Yeah, God.
And he would be pissed. And it's like, that's the day he took it off on the ramp and chucked it into the ring.
Now, with some of the stuff we've talked about, of course, you guys talked about some of the crazy stuff that went down. Have any of you guys ever been at a show where someone proposed like a spot so ridiculous that like literally you were like, no, not doing
You
it.
mean
Yeah.
for me to do? All the time.
And you said no every time.
Not
Like-
every time, but like, when I worked with him, I was scared to death. And for two
Well, I remember
reasons.
you telling me. when
It's not that I didn't think he would be safe with me. It's like, I didn't think at the time that I could make his shit look good enough.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Like, I can catch, but- and like, he's trying to explain shit to me and it's just not like, he's like, he said, just catch me, I'll take care of the rest. And it's like, that's how everybody should be able to do. Like, literally, I trusted him enough not to hurt me and he trusted me not to drop it.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
and that's the best thing in the world. Like, you watch these kids on TV now, and like I'm constantly forwarding all of you guys videos
Oh, yeah.
where dudes standing like this, somebody flies and they watch them fly by. And they bounce off the floor. I saw somebody.
I love
just the
that.
other day, Somebody bounce off the floor and I'm going, that's what, he didn't even put his arms out. Like, God damn. And that would be the dude that would get his ass beat.
Like that guy on AEW a couple weeks ago, that guy Commander dude.
Oh, yeah.
There was like 5 people out on the ring outside, like ready to catch him, and they got their hands up and everything.
They all
And
missed it.
they all just go, oh, and like literally, they're all like, we did our job. I mean, we were going to catch you, but you just flew right past
Well,
us.
no,
It was
the
like-
only thing Bob told me when he ref their hardcore match, he said, just don't bleed on me. Like, no, that was the match. I was supposed to work Crazy Shay, and Blood's like, he does the Canadian Destroyer, that's his finish, he's probably gonna wanna do it. I was like, he can wanna do it, but he ain't gonna do it.
What about you, Claude? Like, you've done a lot of tournament deaths and stuff like that. Like, what's the one thing that you think of that someone asked you to do and you're just like, I'm absolutely not.
I've been asked to do a lot of stuff. Like somebody asked me to do it was some fair in Virginia. They wanted me to ask me if I would go on top of this roof that they had.
Yeah.
And it was like it was kind of like a parking
Yeah, like a little
Brought
parking
us up,
pad
yeah.
thing or whatever.
And they asked if I would flip off of that. Well, you do a couple tables. And I'm like, no.
Dude,
Looking out for the price.
I
They're
worked,
like, we'll give you an extra hot dog.
I worked a couple of tournaments to death that Claude was on, and he does the same shit. He subscribes to the same way that I do. Let them do their shit. Like, we'll do less.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what,
We'll
That's
do
why they're
less,
trying to-
because they've already seen, Necro, do all this, but watch this. You're gonna see Necro do the razzle dazzle. You know what I mean? You're gonna see that. And
What's
that's why
funny-
I brought a girl in. I brought a kid. Like on my TOD match where I worked a girl, and
was
everybody,
that Kylie that you worked?
Yeah,
yeah,
it was.
and
Yeah.
literally I just said, go out and find the smallest light bulb you can possibly get.
Yeah.
It was like a little aquarium light bulb. And I was like, what? I took it to the head. I got a little bit of color, like like a scratch.
Yeah.
I run back to the locker room, just yelling, I'm bleeding. And medic set me down, and then like 5 seconds later, Necro comes down. And he said, "You ain't bleeding." He ain't bleeding. But yeah, I mean, it's the same.
You're almost like Nick Gage. You almost have the airlift that day.
Yeah.
Man,
Like
we're
got-
lucky Chad's here.
I got
You really are.
I got a bigger pop, I bet, working that girl and doing just grab ass spots, legitimately grab ass spots. Than the guys that
The
were
death
going,
match stuff that I did for 20 years.
that were going through like sliding glass doors.
Yeah.
And shit.
Were you there when Bud cut his leg?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I actually,
we worked that show.
Yeah.
I was on that show.
I actually rolled up with blood. Yeah, we were going to do EWA later that night.
Okay.
So we had this one.
He was supposed to work me that night.
Yeah, he still got to work too.
Yeah.
But they
Well,
went,
I don't think you can work.
we hit it up. We did a show the night before
Yeah.
at the arena. And then we went to the tournament after the next day. And me and Rob, we were gonna drive back to the EWA that night.
Yeah.
Well, out of nowhere, and I told them not to do it. I was like, this is dumb.
Yeah.
But they filled up a whole shopping cart full of light tubes, and I'm like, that's not a good idea. And then like,
There's nowhere to go.
We all right.
yeah, and then
Of course that'll happen.
yeah, then they fell in it, and I'm like, but you gotta get out.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what did it. And
It's like something you would see in a Saw movie.
yeah.
They put all the light tubes like
I thought,
I'm looking at
believe
it.
happened.
Yeah.
And like, Blood's like one of my good friends.
Yeah.
So it
Oh
freaked
yeah.
me the
Blood's,
fuck out.
Blood's my best friend in the business.
Yeah, me and Blood could travel.
Yeah. Well,
It
he,
freaked me out.
yeah, he said that when they were like looking at it, he was making it sing New York, New York.
Yeah.
I like the lady looked at him. She's like, "Stop! You're gonna die."
You know,
Like,
that,
don't do
honestly,
that. Like,
I can be that though, because when I went for the burns, the nurse was so disgusted because I smelled like gas so bad that she left the room and threw up. I was so happy. I was popping. Like when I made the little girl throw up at Rambo's, but Bob was there when I had the blade job, remember at Harper's Ferry?
But the first time I saw that thing happen to Blood, that was probably the most gruesome thing
Really?
I've ever seen in wrestling. Yeah.
it was like that long
Yeah,
and
it
like at
was
least
wild.
like that deep.
Yeah, he said he almost got gangrene.
Once I saw what happened to Nick Gage, that was a whole different
Oh, yeah.
situation.
Oh, yeah.
Like, yeah, so those are probably the two craziest things I've seen in wrestling. And then I got one of the most fucked up things I've ever seen was Mike Seidel and Spiral.
Okay.
He Matt Seidel's brother, he didn't
Yeah.
want to take this spot that the kid Spiral came up with. It was like a style clash off
Okay,
the top
yeah.
rope.
Oh.
But he was gonna do a moonsault.
Oh.
Yeah, so
Like how would the chemistry of that?
yeah,
work?
exactly.
Yeah.
Is that like
So-
the SATs gimmick?
Yeah, no, this is worse, bro.
Well, you're
Like,
reverse
the
Spanish.
SAT's gimmick isn't gonna hurt you. They're like two of the safest dudes ever worked. This kid had a dude on the top rope in the Styles clash, and he did a moonsault.
Oh.
So the kid's arms are locked. He can't block
So
that.
the kid
He
couldn't
can't
even
turn
help.
his head.
He couldn't even
Yeah.
help with the spot.
And the thing that was messed up was, all day, when we saw him calling, we went, no, you're not doing that. And when we told him why that wasn't gonna work, and we
Yeah.
kept saying, don't do it. Well, during the match, out of nowhere, he just hooks the kid. And you can hear the kid saying, no, no. And he did it anyway. And he knocked the kid out, and the kid just didn't move for a while. And I thought he was dead.
an ass whooping in his dress.
Yeah, I was gonna say, back in the day, that'd be an
I
ass.
thought he was dead, and thank God he was okay. And everybody ready to beat that kid up. Like he ended up paralyzing himself
Yeah. Like
later
I just,
on.
I don't understand why a lot of these guys get the idea, because I always worked kind of a safe style. I would do some crazy spots here
Because
and
the
there.
kids of today
But-
have to steal the show.
Yeah,
It's me.
yeah,
I-
crazy
I-
spots
not-
needed
not-
to have a place.
Okay, so in
Yeah.
the middle of the show, when this guy did this shit, now what's the rest of the guys supposed to do?
Right.
Number one, the crowd's freaked out because they almost see somebody get killed.
Yeah.
Okay, so all your blood hungry fans, whatever the hell you want to call it, that group of people, they're happy. But what about the rest of the paying customers that come back every month?
Yeah.
You know, they're freaked out. And what did you get paid for? Like, you know, like Vince, when Edge and
Or what did you
Christian-
not get paid for?
well, Edge
Yeah.
and Christian and the Dudleys, like the ladders and the tables and all the crazy shit. Them guys got bonused all the time for doing crazy shit. And they were as safe as they possibly could be, you know. Look at Joey Matthews. How did that end?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That pretty much ended his career. Yes, he had a little bit left after that, but it started the end of his career. Oh my God, it was amazing. He was great. You know what I mean? And I just, if guys want to do that crazy shit, I'm all for it. That's the first thing I said to Paul. I said, yeah, I'd like to go referee some CZW stuff. Never worked for it. All you guys have. I said,
Yeah.
do they do real wrestling? Like, do they actually have matches like without that bullshit? And I didn't know they did.
Yeah.
Like, I had no clue. Like, I went to the show. Remember, I drove with you
Yeah.
and just hung out to see the boys. And like, I had no clue. I thought all CZW was that goofy shit. I'd never, you know.
I think it's toned down a lot now, hasn't it?
I
Well, I
rarely
think
did any hardcore stuff when I was a
He
CCW.
never did.
But it's like, I got like.
Well,
maybe a
GCW is
few
more the
I
hardcore.
love
company,
that
yeah.
you had, and I was looking up photos for the graphic
Yeah,
that I did, and you had the one belt that you had the bandana.
yeah,
Like, was that the CZW heavyweight title
yeah,
that you did
that was the
with?
original.
Nice.
Yeah, we were in the only reason they let me do it, because we were in the process
Oh,
of getting
true,
a new
yeah.
one made.
Okay, so you
So-
put the actual.
Yeah,
belt
yeah,
on
so
the
when,
bit.
so when
Okay.
we got it, we figured we'd do something different with it, just add something to the gimmick. So, but we already knew that the new one was coming, so. Yeah,
That's good stuff. Yeah, because you don't see that much in an indie fed where a guy has his like own custom championship belt. And
yeah,
when you did that, because I remember, I think you bought some too,
yeah,
PWA or whatever.
yeah.
So, but
What?
Morgus,
Oh, yeah.
custom belt.
Oh, yeah.
He had his own belt.
That's right, that's right.
When he won the MEW heavyweight title, hilarious. He went and got a title belt and said MEW heavyweight champion, but it looked like the US title from WCW.
okay,
And to this day.
That's right, I remember that.
You know, he just made his first appearance I think he told Brian Hardy that it was the first time he'd been in the ring in like 16 or 17
Oh, wow.
years.
Jesus
And
Christ.
he did a battle royal at that show for John that helped raise money.
Okay.
And it was, from what I understand in town, he's like the same old Morgan. Yeah.
He was supposed to be the special guest referee for Rambo and Shane Shadows. They had a barbed wire match, but Morgus couldn't show up because he got in a car accident. So instead, the special guest referee was Bob and Doink. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
It was at Apollo Theater in Martinsburg. And I remember I said to people, I was like, if somebody walked in there right now and not know what wrestling is, they see two guys just carving each other with barbed wire, and the referee is a clown.
Yeah.
They'd be like, am I on LSD? What's going on here?
Well, I
Dude, I
remember,
love that place, man.
All the way up to the high.
I got one of my biggest pops there, brother.
Blaze away, boy. The
I-
smoke goes up.
I was supposed to work Morgus as my first feud. Like after
You
the
don't love
two battle
working
royals.
Yeah.
I think Ruckus gave us the Legion gimmick.
Yeah.
We used to do
And that just
the
took off.
shows at the carnival downtown. I worked Morgus on one of those, and it was the biggest pop of the night. Not because of me, but because he was so over.
The Hightown Festival?
Yeah.
I would
They had a
love
whole
it.
city carnival.
Yeah.
Did you work that NBA show that was in the church?
Yeah.
And they had to move all the pews and all
Yeah.
that stuff. And like, I don't know, just something
Those were
like, I
cool.
was like, we're in a church. Like, and that's when Ryan first started. And he was doing like the Milk Hunter gimmick or
It
whatever.
was like the Baltimore City Carnival. wasn't it?
Right, right.
In
I
a church.
forget the name. It's like when you go through the tunnel, it's that first
Yeah.
exit. I forget Baltimore Highlands or
Yeah.
whatever it is. I
It was like
remember
one of the
shooting.
biggest crowds we ever had
Yeah.
in WWF the 1 year. Like it was full.
You must
called
not have been on
Logan
North Carolina.
No, I was not on North Carolina.
Yeah, but Dennis would run that.
You guys feel like what, 800?
Anderson Park.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Cleveland's Fest.
That's the first time I saw MEWF.
Yeah. I remember a funny one, like we would walk around because we do 3 shows a day, right?
Holy shit.
And we're
Yeah,
walking.
but you would work 6 times a day. because You would do the Russian Assassins.
This is my best.
You would do Bob Starr, and you had
Then you
another.
do
Well,
Doink.
Pal, funds were limited. Just
Oh, no, no, no.
$1,000, you had to work 27 days.
I'm not making fun of you or anything. I'm saying because they ran so many shows
Yeah.
in one day.
The first show that I worked, me and Claude worked each other 3 times in the same show, because there were 6 people there. You were the first match, I remember the main event.
So
That was at the school, right?
In school,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So I walk around this festival, and Preakness back in the day meant something.
Oh,
Now
yeah.
it
Got that
doesn't
on
worth
tape
shit.
back.
Oh,
But-
I've never seen that. You
I
gotta,
give
you
it a
gotta,
go.
We
you gotta
walk
let me see
around,
that sometime.
and people, they're handing out rubbers. Like you walk up to this table, right? And like it's a sex education kind of thing going
Yeah.
on, and they got these big tubs of rubbers. And I'm with my girlfriend at the time, and I said, grab a bunch of them. She was, "For what?" And I'm like, why?
For me.
So she grabs all these rubbers, and I stuck them in my singlet. And I go out to the ring, and it's gonna be, if I remember, it was actually Matt Bourne
Okay.
and Morgus against me and Timmy. And I go out and cut my promo, and I'm flipping rubbers out of the crowd, asking them, please don't reproduce. Oh, boy, I got heat on that one.
Pretty good
Holy
angle.
hell.
I can see that.
But the Preakness Festival ended with nobody got paid.
Uh,
Imagine that. And it had nothing to do with the promotion.
Yeah.
The people that ran the festival screwed everybody that year.
Oh,
And I've never seen it since. I don't think they've ever had one since. Like the people.
Was it
that
actually
ran it.
during like?
Was it at the
race
racetrack?
itself?
It was, no, it was that, what the hell is it called? Patterson Park place.
Okay.
But the people that ran Preakness Fest aren't the people that ran Preakness.
uh,
They ran like, I guess it was the weekend.
Yeah.
I think it was like the thing that
for
lead up to it.
The build.
And they had bands and we got the wrestling thing in there for like 2 or 3 years.
Me and Larry were in the crowd at that show.
Really?
Yeah, Larry.
Wow. And now with that, like, speaking about MEWF, because that was really before my time. Like, granted, I started at Brainbusters. I met a lot of you guys at Brainbusters. And like, what started the mass exodus? Like, kind of like, what started like the kind of, I guess,
They found,
death of
I think, I
MEWF?
believe, well, it wasn't the death of it, it was the split. Dan McDivitt, if I remember,
It was two different
I think
visions.
he picked up Dennis's clipboard, and inside was the budget for North Carroll, and they saw what the payoffs were as of the thing, and
King
I
Kong Bundy, what he would tell North Carroll that he was like $2,500, but literally like Danny's like paying or Dennis is paying him like $250. You know what I mean? Or like Jimmy Snuka,
Just drop a zero.
like Jimmy Snuka was like $3,000. You know what I mean? You know, literally he was like 300 or whatever. I remember the days when you remember. I mean, we'd be the same people you would see on any other show that we worked.
Yeah.
But
that one
but
show,
North Carroll, they would like, oh my god,
that one
remember
show
they wanted the
was
Ultimate
fun.
Warrior?
I wasn't in yet. I think I got in. I did one North Carroll show. That was when I
You were
first
the
got
one
in.
with Chris Candido when Candido had an issue.
I remember when
And that
we
issue,
went.
and
We went to a meeting one time there. I wasn't invited. I just happened to run into Dan or something. And they gave Dennis a list of guys that they wanted. They wanted like the Ultimate Warrior, like Kerry Von Erich.
Is he the Saudi
like-
prince? Like, I don't.
Like, you know, and then Dennis,
Let's get Hulk Hogan while we're at it.
like Dennis and his goofy laugh, just kind of like, you know, yeah, I got an extra $750,000 like laying around here that I can bring the Ultimate Warrior to your little podunk, you know. Sure, it's a big high school, but it ain't big enough to cook the Ultimate Warrior.
I'm
But
sitting
they
there
wanted
trying
all
to
them
think, I
guys.
don't even remember the biggest crowd we had there.
About 1,200.
Yeah, but I'm saying like who was the headliner on that? And Tugboat and when did the Tugboat show?
That's the one I was
It
on.
was Candido was there. I think Candido was on that show.
I was
That was the one show where I think only me, you, and like one or two other guys were the only locals. I mean, the guys weren't the hugest names that were on that show, but they were like literally when we were looking at the lineup, it was like I recognized Bob and like two other people on the show, and like Quinn Nash or somebody because Quinn Nash lived up there, you know, and it was like, wow, it's all like it was all the sea level guys.
Okay.
You know, I mean, Greg Valentine, Jake Roberts, I think he was on that, Bundy, like all them guys at that time. You know, all the guys you would see any.
You would see Vince's Sea House shows. You know what I mean? And North Carroll, like a friend of mine now, one of the coaches down in Virginia at a high school, Emory. I can't remember his first name. I just call him coach all the time, but he's running really well. Like he
Yeah.
started out doing like one time, and now they're doing like 4 a year, and he's got everybody on the show.
Oh, yeah.
And they do really well, but at the same time, they also, it's one of them things where when you sell a show to a high school and that's their one big fundraiser of the year, you can't bring too many local guys because the average wrestling fan don't know who they are. The problem with wrestling is now, and this is just my opinion, and I've said this a million times. In our day, these guys were superstars. There's still some cities I can go to if I get booked on an indie show that they know who I am. I've never been there. Like, how do you know that?
No, that-
They remember us from TV, whether you were doing jobs or you were the main event. Everybody was superstars back then.
Oh, yeah.
Nowadays, hey, you can't get them because these kids of today don't know how to take indie bookings. They have no clue.
Oh, yeah.
So then they go to these fucked up agents that take half their money. And I don't give a shit what they say, that's what they do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can think it's a great deal and you think you're only paying them $100 or $200 a show. Ask the guy what he's actually paying.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
It is what it is. And I mean, everybody's got to make money. That's what agents do. That's why I'm just not interested. Like, it's like, if you can pay $2,000, I want $2,000.
Right.
I'm not, you know what I'm saying? Like, brother's not taking the bumps. He's making phone calls.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, that's the thing. And like,
And nowadays, believe it or not, this whole thing, if I would have knew, and I think you feel the same way, if I would have knew 20 years ago, I could sit behind a table, make $300 to sign fucking autograph. I would not have been taking all them bumps.
I mean, I can't believe how, like,
It's amazing.
like, it's not that
All
often.
them bumps, like Bob took a million bumps.
Like, I'll still get promoters, people that will call me, ask me, like, you know, like Ohio or stuff like that, and they'll ask me like, how much or whatever. And I'll give them, I'll give them like a number. I'll go, okay, hang on a second. I need, all right, I'll just throw out a number, 150. That's what I want. But you're also 400 miles away.
yeah.
So I'm gonna spend, you know, it's gonna be what,
Almost that.
four
and
tanks of gas
Yeah.
or whatever. So, you know, and I'll just say plus trans, and they'll go like, what are you talking about? Like, you expect me to drive there for like a $20?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a Saturday, you know, I could be doing anything else. Why would I really want to book my Saturday around your pathetic, you know, Mickey Mouse outlet?
What was that? You might know this. What was that Jason Inc. was offering the people? Like, didn't he
Oh,
say if
he
he
was-
flew him
He
in?
messaged me. He was like, "Hey, are you still repping for EWA?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Can you tell Jim that I'll work for him if he'll bring me in?" I was like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "If he'll fly me in, I'll work for him." Jim doesn't
Do
pay
you guys
us.
know who Jason Inc.
Jim
was?
doesn't pay us to live here.
Oh, no, yeah.
Yeah, he told me
Yeah.
to tell Jim to fly him in if he could work the show.
Did you know that I was trying to a fist fight with him at the second AWL show?
No.
Because like the second AWL show we did in Bel Air. And
Right up the street. from
yeah,
us.
yeah. So we did that. And like he wanted to be on the show. And I'm like, all right, well, you know, we're full. There's only one spot I have, and that's someone to deliver
Was that on
flowers.
that show?
Yeah.
That when Charlie fell out the ring?
No, that was
That
the
was
first
first,
one.
though.
That was
Oh,
the
okay.
first one.
And so I think it was you and G's versus, it might have been you and Gacy or something like that.
Yeah,
One of
me and Gates.
Yeah, and so I was like, the only spot I have is someone to deliver flowers to David Starr. That's all I have. Like Mike cannot pay anybody else. We have no any extra spots, whatever. It's like, oh, I'm the real deal. Like I'm not gonna fucking do it. I'm like, dude, you're gonna fucking do it.
Wasn't
I'm
it
not gonna
exact
do
quote?
shit.
Wasn't it exact quote? I ain't a fucking jabroni.
Yeah, I ain't a
That's what-
fucking jabroni. He's like, I'll show you how big I am or whatever. I'm like, my dude, don't even come to the show because he used to come with Jeff Dennett.
Yeah.
I was like, don't even fucking come to the show because I'm not arguing.
The guy said he wasn't a jabroni.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That means he's a fucking.
We actually did that. It was Patrick Clark.
You're making a hot dog.
Flowers.
Yeah.
But Jason Hanks showed up and he was in the locker room and he started talking all this shit. I was like, dude, you gotta get the fuck out of here. And he's like,
the big brother with all the tattoos.
yeah.
Yeah.
And he was like, blah, blah, blah. And he's going back and forth with me. And DJ came over. And DJ was like, who the fuck's that? He's like, what's wrong? I told DJ what was going on. DJ was like, go do whatever it is you're doing. I'll take care of it. Sure enough, fucking, I see Ink like put his head down, like DJ saying something to him, and he left the locker room and stayed out in the crowd. Like the rest of the night. I'm like,
I gotta do it. I got it. Oh,
You know, you better.
I seen him. He did a show for SWO, and it was him. And did you ever meet Bam Williams?
Yeah.
Well, Bam at the time was a vacuum. SWO didn't know that. He wasn't trained. Him and Bam went out and had what Wolfman said was the worst match he'd ever seen in his life.
That's
Oh, so
bad.
Well, Justin's on there, so.
They went there and it was Hangman,
Oh,
Harley
okay.
Watkins, and a bunch of other guys there. He was like, he looked at me, Blood, and three other people. He's like, you, and you, come with me. And we went out there and beat the shit out of them, both of them. And then went into the back. And like I remember
I love the
Watkins
run-in
yelling
too.
at them in the back, and I'm just like, Holy shit.
I love when the match is so bad the promoter just does a random run-ins to stop it. Yeah. I've been in a couple of those.
Have you guys seen a lot of those, like random, like run-ins where?
Yes.
they have
Oh,
this?
yeah, they would,
That's all done.
they would be like a staple, like on a Rambo show.
Oh, yeah.
There would be, somebody would do something stupid.
Where they go like for 45 minutes.
Yeah. And like Rambo would be like, grab a bunch of people, and like just go out there and beat the shit out of them.
He's like, hey, you can't remember. I was like, Sucker 10. I was like, me, like, three other Sucker 2s. This shit is over. This is enough of this shit. Just get out there.
Yeah, I mean, what, you give them, you tell them like, what, 8 to 10?
Yeah.
And then like 23, 24
Yeah.
minutes in, like you got Rambo and he's looking around like, what the fuck?
People are leaving the venue. 'cause it's
And then all of a sudden he's like, I had enough. And he'll just be like, all right, guys, anybody want to go out there and beat the shit out of
Let's
them guys?
start the battle royal.
Yeah.
We did a show up in Philly. There was two guys that I used to know. This was like their first show. And it was debuting that night. And they went out there. It was for a place called Powerhouse Wrestling.
Okay.
They went out there. They supposed to go 5 minutes. Bro, they went like 15. At the 15-minute mark, they sent a bunch of guys out there to beat them up. The guys walked to the back, tell them to end it. They started the match up again, bro. Wrestling again. Like
The guys that beat him up and left.
Yeah.
Left
The ref was gonna get the point and be like, match over and get them out of here. No, they laid there for a second and they got up and started wrestling again. And then they came out and
Fish out of water spot. Fish out of water
then
spot.
beat them to the back.
That's
I'm
when you
like,
send the
this is
shooter
horrible.
out.
Jeez,
This is horrible.
those shows where guys.
What-
would do
the one
stuff like
they
that,
did-
It would last so long.
The one they did at Rambo's, Baller came back and he was so sad, like, we were just about to get to the finish. Like they were going to the finish final and everybody came out and beat the shit out of him. He was so sad.
I could write a book. It's definitely going to be a chapter in my book of working for Rambo.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like the guys that I don't know where he found these guys, dude. Like,
It was such a great dichotomy because he had some really good
We were
workers.
talking about this because
Yeah.
we would go up and he would always put us against them because we knew what the fuck we were doing.
So I had to
And
work
we
Butch
just
for a
be
year
like,
straight.
Damn it! Now we need to work these
Oh.
fucking guys.
It used to be a rant, but my mom would take up. She's like, I bet you're working Butch tonight. I'm like, shut up. Like, get there, look at the lineup sheet, Socrates versus Butch.
I did a 4-way one time for him with 3 other guys that I didn't have a clue. And they were just rotten to the core. And we booked a high spot, like where it was going to be, we were all going to end up diving, but it would be like the first guy dives, second guy's on the floor. They just dive. So it'd be all 4 guys
Yeah.
on the floor for me to dive. But there's no chance that I was diving first. No way. And we did the spot, and afterwards the guys were so rotten. I just grabbed the guys one after the other. I threw the one guy in the ring and said, "Don't come anywhere near me." Grabbed the other guy and said, "Stay as far from me as you possibly can." Grabbed the other guy, go stick with me. Like he was the only guy that was halfway decent.
Yeah.
And like, all right, if we got to go to 10, whatever, I'm gonna do it with you. That way I know I'm gonna walk out of here. And these other 2 kids, and then we got back to the locker room and Rambo said what happened. And I was like, dude, these guys fucking they're rotten. Like they don't have a clue like what's going on. Oh, well, they sold 20 tickets. All right,
Yeah,
I
that's what
get
it
it.
is.
I got it.
The Bill Ward syndrome. That's what that was. I don't know if you ever. Jim had a
Yeah,
guy
Hand
named
and
Bill,
Hammer?
Bill Ward who was awful,
I was probably out.
just deep down in the trenches, bad.
Yeah.
And like I
Well,
wasn't
to be
there, but
fair,
I knew a lot.
for EWA, not fit with some
Is he
people.
the one with the cowboy hat?
I don't think he had a cowboy hat, but he would sell like 120 tickets a show.
Yeah, like the
And then
little,
after his
fake
match,
hammers.
they would all leave.
yeah.
So the crowd would go from like 150 to like 12. So like,
You see the last.
That's why you
the
put
last
one in.
show.
Dude, the guy sold 100.
That was
Who was it? Who was that?
the last show they ran. At
Oh,
the
The guy sold 120 tickets, dude. I put any belting guy wanted on. Like that's
Put him
That
in-
was
put him
gonna be
in-
the first match.
Put him in the main event though, so the people stay.
yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like me
Shit,
and
we
Stricker
drew
were
18
talking
people
a
to
little
go.
bit about it. On the way here, that it's crazy that like when you look at Jim's roster today, he has nothing. He has no star.
there is a roster.
He has
I only
nobody.
see, you know what I heard about his shows? The day after.
Yeah,
And I'm not shitting. That's
Yeah.
how horrible
Oh,
his
yeah.
industry is.
yeah.
Nobody
And I'm not
flies.
giving him shit. Here's the thing. I fucking live 20 minutes from where your show is and I haven't heard
That
about
tall cedars.
it. Yeah, well, no, they ran
There's
the
no
Dallas
reason why he
Armory.
shouldn't have built Paul Cedars. He was there for what, 12 years?
Yeah,
Yeah,
like,
longer than that.
We were out there running that show at the firehouse. You were killing it.
Yeah.
And then you just came back and messed it up.
Yeah.
I don't know
And
why.
between pissing people off that have knowledge, not paying the guys that are busting their ass trying
Oh,
to help
yeah,
him
dude.
the best,
Not-
that's what he gets.
Not bringing in the Sandman when I was paying to bring him in.
I mean,
Put that out there.
whatever. It is
Dude,
what
I've
it is.
never, I've had a lot of shitty payoffs,
I
like,
feel bad for
but I've
Corey.
never had,
Story
I've
still there?
never had an experience where I asked the guy for my payoff and the guy goes, "What do you mean?" Like,
Wait,
so
people get paid to send
you
this?
expect, like, like, I don't even give a shit. The guy gave me the envelope and the envelope cost more than what was in the envelope, but there was an envelope with my name on it and something in it, and then Jim was like, "Well, what do you mean?" What?
Well,
Was that the show you puked on me?
It was probably one of the last.
I
Yeah. It was probably.
didn't get paid either, and you puked on me. I didn't get paid either.
He puked again afterwards. After
Besides, like, I could have been working at Walmart today making more than this.
I was selling crabs there, man.
Well, I don't get it because like I told Socrates, like it's very like they can pick up the phone and call Ruckus, they can call Bob, they can call Chad, hell, they can call me, like all of us, like people in EWA for some reason, the bookers over there think that just because we're
What
not around
bookers?
anymore,
What show?
that they don't remember us. And I'm like, I remember Andre the Giant being slammed by Hulk Hogan. Like, I still go to Pizza John's every so often and have people say gold thumbers.
Yeah.
Say
I don't
Chase
understand
Rawlings
where
or
he run shows.
The best shows that company ever ran was in that abandoned grocery store.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
That
that's
was
when
great.
XCW was when it's out
Yeah.
and really there
That
was like
was
nothing
when,
else around.
What was the brother's name you introduced me to that was the big mark for me?
Oh, Larry Sweeney.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've never met him
you say?
before. He
Yeah.
was amazing. He was such a great kid. And then to see his end, just stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, but like Jim
Larry-
doesn't
but-
realize whether you like me or not, motherfucker. I helped, he helped.
Yeah.
And when those guys all left, now what's he do? He rents his friggin' school out to little kids to run shows.
I never even seen
Which is
anybody
totally
there.
illegal.
Store directly across the
When-
parking
when
lot
I- when I
4
left-
times a week.
When I left as a trainer, a lot of people stopped coming. Because when I was training for the Hall of Fame show, everybody was like, we need you here.
Hall of Fame
We don't
show?
need any of this.
He's an EW Hall of Famer. man.
Go down right now and tell Jim you will help to train his kids.
Yeah.
He was there now.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
If it costs,
Yeah.
if it costs
Just because,
anybody,
just because he has
my
a
last
heater or
show,
something. Yeah.
Yeah, he had that
show
Bruce
with
Leroy kid, that little shiny, that little skinny fucking.
Yeah, Bruce can.
Bruce
Yeah,
Jenner.
Bruce
Chan. Yeah, but I would go down there and literally, when he had his shows, when he would open the door up, and I'd take my cooler, I'd be the only one there.
I would see you there.
And I would just sit there and watch the shows, and I'd mark, I'd be like everybody else. I would cheer, I wouldn't do anything stupid, I'd be like, "Yeah, I like this guy, I like this guy." One or two ham bones that were there that I thought were like decent. I like that little kid, that Chan kid, whatever. But when I saw him, like he brought in like the doll, like the inflatable person. Like he brought it in and did the spot like on the thing.
The Kenny Omega spot.
And I was just like, oh, good lord.
the last time I worked for him was at that Parkville place. And I think, did you work with Jake?
Yes.
Okay, and I refereed that match. And when he came back, and he had a good crowd that night,
Oh, yeah.
and he come back and he brought like 2 or 3 pizzas, dropped them dress and walked out. Didn't pay anybody.
Oh, yeah.
That's more than you usually do.
I had to pay Jake. Okay, motherfucker. There was other
He didn't
people in
pay
that
Jake.
match.
You remember Chris Adonis?
He didn't
Chris
pay-
Adonis paid Jake.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah. He never paid Jake.
Wow.
Chris Adonis, who was
Jake
at that point
Roberts?
kind of like partner.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, wait a minute. Jim has
Because
paid,
Ashley was there.
Jim has paid me, but he never paid Jake.
Because that match was supposed to
Makes
be
a lot of
me
sense.
and Jake. But then Jim started
He
telling.
inserted himself in
Yeah,
there.
Jim
No.
inserted himself
No.
in it. He told Joe, well, I'm bringing him in, blah, 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 and Joe came to me and he's like, well, we can't do you and Jake anymore, which kind of killed my momentum. So then it ended up being a tag match. And I remember we're talking a match out in the back and Jim's sitting there telling Jake all this stuff we're going to do. And Jake's just kind of looking at him and he looks at me, he looks at Jim, he's like, why don't you let me work with your young guy? And like, Jim just shuts up at that point. And Jake's like, all right, look, here's what's gonna happen, or whatever. And like, I'm just sitting there like, because yeah,
Was it with you? I mean, I don't know if it was with you, but I worked with somebody for Jim, and then Jim all of a sudden, out of nowhere, decided that he was gonna do a run-in. like in the match,
That
and,
might-
and whoever I was with, the guy goes, "No, you're not." And I'm looking at him going, "Well, it's his show, whatever." And whoever I was working with goes, "No, like you don't want any." I'm like, I'm just thinking like, I don't really care. But the guy working it goes, "No, you're not. You're
Like
not."
me and Derek left, because he came back that night, won every belt.
Yeah, what was that show? He beat everybody.
Show.
He beat everybody.
He just showed up like on changing all that.
He beat everybody one night. And that was the show. He beat everybody.
Yeah,
It was like
I remember that.
See, it took me like a year to start building all these young dudes up. And then I had it so they were all gonna finally get their belts that night. All the
The
stuff.
Legion were supposed to win
Yeah.
the tag belts.
And then Jim just showed up like,
Yeah.
well, we're changing the cards and I'm winning all the belts.
I
I thought he
remember
was
that.
joking.
Yes.
He wasn't.
Who didn't think he was joking?
And I'm
Like
like,
we're all looking around like, what do you mean? Like he's gonna run in during this match.
Are you
Then he's
just
gonna-
doing it against extracurricular activities before the show?
Ask this.
Not me.
When EWA had the forum, we used to post in that all the time. Someone used to always post his Jim's Coke happened. And I remember someone
And
used to
what
say
is
it was
Coke dealer?
Ruckus.
that was me.
I remember someone was
Who
like,
was
I
the
think
best
that's
one?
Ruckus.
The
But
one
I
show-
was-
Facebook.
The one show-
I think it was Matthews or it was somebody
wasn't
that was
me.
in.
The one show when
EWA.
Jim came out, he was trying to be all cool, and some guy was like, "Hey, it's Ric Flair's dad."
The only thing I ever did to Jim was make that YouTube video about him.
Yeah.
The old man video. But that was it. That was only because he was talking shit about him.
I never have a problem with the guy. Like the guy would just, if he ran a show and I showed up, he would use me. If he didn't, or whatever, but I would just not show up because he would never book me. But if I showed up, he would just be like, "Oh, well, it's cool." If Chad shows up or whatever. But yeah, I would never quote unquote do business with the guy. If there's no business to be
There's
done.
no business to be done.
Like, I don't personally have a problem with Jim.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
I don't care.
He's not a bad guy. He's just not a good promoter.
He pays for his shit at Walmart.
The only thing I ever had with him was him showing up that night and fucking up everything
Yeah.
we worked
Well,
on.
that's the thing, like me and Psycho were talking on our way here. It's like, what is Jim? Like, he's not a promoter. Like, he's not a
He's not a
businessman.
wrestler.
Like,
He's not a worker.
Danny's a businessman.
Yeah,
Everything
Danny's
Danny
business.
does is so he makes money.
100% business.
So what is it that Jim is? Like, I just don't understand.
He's a mark.
Yeah.
Well, money
He
mark.
got pissed off
Yeah.
because he
Yeah.
did some jobs and he went and opened his own company so he could win a wrestling.
That's what it was.
And look at what the hell happened. If you want the goddamn truth.
Yeah.
How do you get?
Give it to him, Bob.
How do you get heat?
Tell him.
The bag
People
might
wanna know.
not be your old
Here's
fucking- That's how you get.
He left after they put the Mid-Atlantic title on him. Like they gave him a title and he still left.
No matter what we did, he was never happy.
Mid-Atlantic
And what
title.
sucks is it started a bad
Hey,
taste and like.
I held that title, damn it.
First
He
off,
took down the Mid-Atlantic title.
Where's
That's my
that
first
now?
fight.
He quit.
Well, nice.
You know what I mean? Like they get tired of the bullshit. So the good guys
Yeah, I
get,
think you for it once.
he abuses till they leave.
Yeah.
And the shit guys, just because they can sell a couple tickets, stick around. But then, how long does that last?
I can't even believe
I
we're
eventually
doing
got
fucking
pissed
20
and I
minutes
left.
with fucking Jim Christian.
know,
That's
I'm
beyond
just
me.
bullshit.
I thought we were here to have fun. Now I'm drinking to drown my fucking sorrow.
Of course,
He's
speaking
not
of
afraid here.
Danny
Jim's
being
gonna get
businessman,
burned somehow.
the MCW 25.
Yeah, it's gonna be
coming up.
amazing. 3
Yeah, it's gonna be great. I'm probably gonna go out.
For a
to that
trampoline. Where am
So-
I? I haven't got a phone call.
You need to go to the gym.
They're
Show
only,
your face.
Yeah, I hate to break it to you, but you're probably not.
they're only, they're
I'm definitely not.
only fucking top guys.
Yeah.
Top guys, like half the people I train, is Lena gonna show up and sleep on Danny's couch again after I spent 2 months training? You know what I mean?
Dude.
It's like a sort of legend show the first night. Then the next day is they're doing this gigantic thing with Conrad and Eric Bischoff and
Oh, I see.
stuff. They're gonna do like a what the hell do you call those things? Like an
Seminar?
autograph giving. Like,
Yeah,
and that night is a Shamrock Cup.
yeah.
And
I saw that advertised, like the legend, is that like what they did before when they had like brought you in? I remember that.
no, that was a different thing. Mark Osborne Studley would run the Legends on,
Okay.
like Friday night, and then Danny would run Saturday.
Yeah.
night. And it was just a regular MCW show. This one is like it's for the anniversary, and I'm not letting any cats out of any bag.
Oh, yeah,
I'm just saying that I've sat in and spoken to them several times, and if you're in the area and you were ever a fan of MCW, stop out that weekend.
Oh, yeah, I'm
Hey there.
It's gonna be
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, they ain't booked.
Hey, I'm not either, so we're good.
I'm sure anybody.
I know
who
every
ever
title,
had
everything.
any
that's on
kind of name in MCW will probably show up in some way.
I won't be. I can tell you that right now.
I'll get a case of beer and sit next to my camera guy.
I'll tell you this, I'm not gonna be there.
I'm not going there. If Chad's not gonna be there, I'm not going.
I'm saying this over there. I am not going to be there.
They are in the process of getting everybody together. I mean, to do.
Ricky Blue.
Well, to do any
I mean, what are they-
kind of like show, it's hard because
You
everybody's.
got me talking.
Why have we not done an MEWF reunion? That's what I want to know. One show, that's all we need.
Who would do that though? Who would?
It's not late, there you go.
At least.
And to be
Why
honest,
isn't there an MWF versus MCW?
There
Well,
was in like
they kinda beat 'em.
2003.
Oh, there was?
yeah, you kind of beat them.
Yeah.
It only lasted once because
And then MEWF was gone a year later.
Then, you guys want to take a quick break? And
Yes.
then we'll come right back? All right, cool.
Good break. Got a tea, got a smoke. I got to make up the wife. I don't-
Another beverage.
Hi, this is Dave DeMarco from Crack the Sky and the Dave DeMarco Band, and you're listening to the Happy Hour podcast.
In a world full of hunger and thirst, one restaurant will attempt to satisfy these cravings forever. Meet our hero, the cheeseburger, and his salty partner, crab dip tater tots. Together, with local craft beer, they take the fight to hunger. With a special appearance by Cupcake Milkshake, they... Vagabond Sandwich Company. Better making food than making commercials.
Hello, my name is Bubba Almany. I am a bodyguard who has been in the security industry for over a decade. My team and I offer a variety of security services that cover all aspects of security operations. We have secured some of the highest profile clients and largest events in the world. Should your situation require armed protection, we have the ability to carry in all 50 states and U.S. territories. Not only do we have the latest security equipment, we also have world-class training. We look forward to assisting all of your security needs by bringing you the finest and most dedicated security personnel available. From the Office of the President of the United States to local county and state dignitaries, my tactical dignitary protection officers are the tip of the spear in this extremely competitive industry. Let my highly trained staff protect the asset today. We can be contacted via the email and number below. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Shay Seitz, and you're watching the Happy Hour podcast.
We're the fourth most stolen from. So we're,
Walmart?
yeah.
Yeah, you told me when you first started working, like 4 people stole shit the first day.
I don't give a fuck.
Which one, the one in Dundalk?
Like some guy the other day, like I was getting a sub at Subway. And my wife ordered it, so I was getting it, and then the guy who was working the door, who was pretty much sleeping, watched some guy roll out of, he ran through the cart door, because the guy with the cart door was open, had two 70-inch TV, just rolled right out of it. And I'm sitting there, all I hear was, hey. And I look around and goes, the guy just stole 2 TVs. Whatever. Our eighth, we had this guy that looks like fucking, I'm not scared, dude. We have a guy that looks like Rasta. That's our head of our AP. He won't come out unless it's some fucking homeless woman that's doing something. You look not like, you look at him and you're thinking like, this guy is intimidating looking, you know, but he will not come out. Like, for anybody, like,
He's intimidating. You should like do like the old school, like recruit him to be a worker thing.
I tried to. I asked him about it, but he said he was like 34. And I just went like, yeah, I'm not gonna. It'll take me a year to train you, and then then you're gonna be like 36 probably by then. And then,
I mean, the boogeyman was 38,
where's the boogeyman at?
28, 38.
Get some room.
Yeah. Now, of course, Ruckus, he had to get onto the road. And,
Yeah, it's a UFC fight.
In like
And-
5 hours.
yeah.
It's like 2:30. Yeah.
Well, no, the early prelims that before the prelim, they come on before the prelim are coming on now.
He said his girl had to go to college.
Yeah,
So,
she's got classes.
The curtain jerkers. Like us.
yeah.
Yeah, I UFC, man, UFC to me is no interest. There's nothing there. Like, not even because of a CM Punk thing. Like, there's nobody there. I couldn't even tell you who the top 3 guys are.
I got really into it for a little bit, but then they got a chain of those fights. Like I think there were like 6 or 8 in a row where you paid all the money for the fight, and then it ended like your first round. No, I didn't pay.
Oh.
But like, I would go to somebody's house where they paid for the fight, and then it'd be over in like 2 minutes.
That's why you
And then
work,
they were
that's why
like,
you work.
Welcome to the Mike Tyson.
That's why you work the minute. But at least with Tyson, it was still exciting. I mean, even if it was still a minute long, it was still exciting.
I could run longer than that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
As long as you're not paying for it, it's good.
It just,
That's what the pirate box is
If,
for.
if it's on and it's free and I come across it, I'll
Yeah.
watch it, but it's not a destination
Yeah.
thing for me at all.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be like, oh, I can't
It's
come out today.
When Brock was fighting that way, but
I think what changed was like the Peacock deal. If you are
Right.
in this area, if you're an Xfinity guy, which everybody has cable, you get the pay-per-views for free.
really, yeah.
So if you watch WWE and whoever else, whatever else they have to offer, why are you gonna pay for anything?
Exactly.
That's UFC, the smartest thing they could ever do is go get sponsored for the shows and give it away.
I'm surprised they don't have a streaming deal like Peacock. I think they would by now.
The money figure would be so ridiculous.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. I don't get why like MLB and NFL haven't done anything like that, because there's so many.
They do,
Like
they have
archive
the
games.
Major League Baseball channel. NFL Network, and,
Yeah,
I mean,
it's different. Like, it should be available for any team, because like for
It
example,
is.
Orioles.
If you go, it
Yankees,
is. If
they're
you go on
blacked out.
MLB.TV, they have it for any team. That's where I get the
But
time.
not for the Orioles.
Well, that's, yeah, it's blacked out local.
well, if you don't black it out locally, you won't get anybody in the stadium.
Right, right.
You know, and to get back to the wrestling thing, I mean, like the shows here lately, I mean, I've done, I guess the last 5 MCW shows.
Okay.
And I hadn't been to 5 shows in a row in 20 years.
Well, you've been taking photos.
Yeah. And they're hot, man. There's a town in Southern Maryland called Hollywood. The building's absolutely amazing.
We just delivered out that
Yeah.
way.
It's packed. Like last time, literally, I walked in and I was talking to the
Indies cool, man. All right, Indie shows are cool.
Yeah.
If they're done right.
And there wasn't
They're
anyone
good.
on that show. Not one. Not what you would call a national name. There
That's
wasn't
what,
one.
that's like the boom period where you can just put wrestling. Wrestling's coming into this town, and then
Yeah.
that's cool. Like, you know, and if you're good, if you're halfway decent, like Bob, and then you come out and you tell the first person you see to shut up,
Yeah.
then you know you're a heel. Like
Yeah.
Bob's probably the best heel that I grew up knowing. You know, you can just walk out. He can just walk out when he plays stupid music, and he walks out and he just go like, I don't like that guy. He hadn't even done anything yet. You can just tell like this is the guy that I'm not going to like.
Yeah.
And Claw's the opposite. Like, when Claw walks out, you just want to be like, yes.
Yeah. Bob was the best doink I've ever worked. Of course, he's the only doink I've ever worked. But
I'm still mad over that final rule, that bootleg Doink, and he eliminated me. If Doink's gonna eliminate me, it better be Bob. There was 4 people left. There was me, Fake Doink, Jimmy Dream, and fucking Adam Ugly.
well, it's funny because I worked Bob, and I remember like the second time we had worked, I like blew my ankle out 30 minutes into that match. And I remember you were like, bro, you okay? And I was like, yeah, I hurt my ankle. You're like, just listen to what I say the rest of this match.
Great.
And we made it through 5 minutes with me with a bum ankle for 5 minutes.
It is the difference between today's current wrestling and knowing how to work. Like
Yeah.
the guys back in the day, you know, you only got paid if you showed up and worked. So like you could protect someone if they're hurt. Like Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson classic is like Robert would be hurt. Ricky worked the whole damn match.
Right.
You know? And it's not that Ricky wanted to do the whole match, but he's got to take care of his partner because they got to make the next town to get paid.
Right.
You
I mean, back in the day, like Bob was the butt of a lot of jokes.
Yeah.
Oh, you're Bob Starr or whatever. Like, look what Bob does. Bob goes out there. He's professional. He's got professionally made tights, professionally made boots. He's got a ring jacket, and he comes out there.
He looks like a worker.
He looks like a wrestler.
Which is more you can say for 90% of guys.
And then he gets heat by doing nothing.
Exactly.
He'll make fun of, you know, a handicap or whatever, you know, Ray or whoever, you know, he'll make fun of somebody and then like, oh, we gotta hate this guy. And then he does nothing.
Yeah.
But in the whole process of doing nothing, he does everything.
Yeah.
He gets over, he gets the other guy over. You want to cheer for this guy, even though you don't know who either one of the guys are. But Bob outstands himself by being a heel.
Yeah.
Therefore, you don't give a shit who the other guy is. You just want to see him.
And nowadays, all it is, everybody wants to be the babyface. They all want to be cheered. They all want to. And here's the thing.
I love being a heel. I love the challenge. of
Nobody
getting
wants to be
someone to
over.
hate.
Nobody wants to get over
Everybody
in
knows how to get over.
their respective position.
Well, here's the thing. I walk in a dressing room, there's a sheet on the wall. I'm fourth match. There's 11 matches. I know my place.
Yeah.
But at the end of the night, when it's all said and done, all I want is the people to go, well, this match was good, that match sucked, but that match, they beat the shit out of each other. We didn't touch each other.
Right.
You know, and it's not like that anymore. Everybody has to be the big star and all this other shit. I don't have to do 300 moves. You know, Raven taught me a long time ago, and Scotty, I lot of respect.
Hey, Bob, what you gotta do? Go ahead, what you gotta do, Bob?
Give me 5 moves.
Yeah.
That's
So,
it.
yeah, that's all you need.
Like,
That's all we're doing.
There for a while, I would like, I used to love when people would just go completely like ghost face and like, you know, you're in headlights, because I would be like, all right, here's the finish. We're gonna call the rest out there. And they would.
They don't know.
They do that now.
They would look at me like, what? And when I went back,
If it's not written on a piece of paper.
we're in the ring, and I would get in the ring, and I'd be like, just listen to what I tell you.
Back in the day, I work mortgage. What do you want to do, brother? Shop down, everything else. Whatever you do. That's the thing.
When he went to the school, like, we would just get in the ring and just do stuff. And
We
I
used to
don't know
do,
how to do that.
when I started, it was at Barry Hardy's place. Or, well, I was actually a little bit after I
At his
started,
house?
but remember when it was out back in the garage type thing? And we, at the end of the night, every night, we do like a 45-minute match. We didn't, everything was, we had to call everything, like, with that, we didn't plan anything.
Yeah.
And it would, you learn how to do that, and like, the one time that I had to do it live on a show, we were at Bingo Bill's, and I was waiting, we were waiting for Axel to come from ECW. You may have been on that show, and I worked with Balls Mahoney. When they sent us to the ring, we didn't have time.
Yeah, because
We had to wait till Axel got.
I was in the crowd for that shit.
Oh,
and
really?
We were like 45 minutes.
I was gonna say it was easily a half an hour. 40
And
minutes.
the whole time, Balls is like, holy shit, like what are we gonna do? Let's just call, bro, go. And we just called different shit. And John was a good guy, he really was.
Yeah.
It's like, I saw a picture the other day of the sun, and it's a spitting image of it.
Really?
It's,
Great worker, too. It really was.
never hurt anybody, but the Santa Claus thing, when he got signed, killed him, like, and then ECW revived him, and then drugs took.
I worked him in Smoky Mountains when he was Boo Bradley. And like I worked him, Cactus, and Bruiser Bedlam on the same show, like TV taping. And then like 2 months later, I go home and I'm working a show for Dennis or Danny, and Boo's on the show. And I walk back in the locker room and I was like, "Hey, what's up, Boo? Good to see you." He goes, "Don't you ever like call me that again." I had no idea that he was Balls Mahoney now. Like, you know, like I'm supposed to know that you're all of a sudden you're Balls Mahoney. Wait, you just killed a cat like 2 weeks ago in like North Carolina. You ever see that angle?
Yeah, I
that,
remember
that
that.
angle was awesome,
Yeah,
dude.
good shit.
Like, how great was the switcheroo
Yeah.
when they had a live cat? Like, I guess Candino, I don't know who the baby was, had a live cat,
Yeah.
or Boo had a live cat, and they did a deal where Candino came out and stole the cat, and he ran around and Boo chased him around the building. So somehow in the back, they switched up the cat with a stuffed animal.
Yeah.
Oh,
And they had it like in a pillowcase.
yeah.
So everybody saw put the cat in a pillowcase, and then he came back around. They threw the pillowcase in the middle of the ring, and like Candido did like a splash, like and literally people were like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
Like, and I was there, I was watching it, going, "This is incredible!" Like, did people actually believe
They got real heat. Yeah, they thought it was the real
you
guy.
killed the cat? But you can see this big gigantic lump like in the fucking pillowcase, and it wasn't a real cat, but nobody knew.
Yeah.
You know, but I was just amazed, like how they pulled that off. That everybody they ran right to the back,
Yeah.
you know. And I was like, "That's fucking."
Was that kind of like when they had a
Like an earthquake splash
Yes,
Damien.
Splash
Yeah.
Damien or whatever. Like, yeah.
And that's probably where the idea came from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, everything, there's nothing we can do in this business anymore.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
The only way you'd surprise somebody pull out a gun and shoot someone.
Right.
They've probably done that shit somewhere.
California to do that.
Ronnie Board going out and hustle.
Oh, yeah.
So,
The highest rated raw
Yeah,
all the time.
yeah.
Wait,
People lost their
they
mind.
will find something that's new. When they do, it'll be like earth changing. They're like, "Oh my god, I can't," you know,
Yeah.
because
Can't
it's
believe it never
something
thought of it.
we've never seen it before. And I mean, what's the greatest? It's the devil, it's Jesus. You know, it's
Yeah.
boyfriend, girlfriend. Like that's the recipe for like heat.
Yeah.
Like that's what they all draw that shit off of. And the Roman stuff is probably the closest Stuff that we got, or Dominic and Ray.
Dominic Ray's good too, yeah. Dominic he's really impressive as a heel.
I feel like Triple H is starting to like dip into doing things that were done like 20 or 30 years ago. Like if you notice this Rumble, he redid the 1995 Rumble with Liv and what's her face. They were the first two.
There you go. You
They
said
were the
what's
last.
your face? Then what's your face?
Rhea Ripley. Yeah.
Okay.
So with Rhea Ripley, and it was literally the same thing the 95 Rumble was. Bulldog and Michael started off. Those two started off. They ended up being the last two.
I'll tell you what though, Liv Morgan wouldn't have lasted 60 minutes with me. She might last about 4.
No, you weren't lasting 60 minutes with her. That's the problem. Fuck that, man. I look at her, I'm like, dude, I think I would.
Yeah,
But there's no chance that I could.
I've been blown up after 2.5.
She is Jesse James' doppelganger.
She
I
really
cannot
is, yeah.
not see Jesse James when I look at her.
Who's Jesse James?
The porn star.
Of course, yeah, we had on the show. He kicked me in the balls one time and then drew a penis on me.
She threw a penis on you?
She was like, can I draw anything you want? I'm like, I looked away and she drew a giant penis on mine with a marker. And the next day my mom was like, why do you have a giant penis on your arm? Like over my real tattoos. I'm like, I don't ask.
This kid's been on thing.
And I'm still here.
No.
Somehow I'm still here.
I think that and we talked about it the other day, a couple of friends, that what you're gonna see in the next 2 to 3 years is somebody dying or anything.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Well,
when
it's
that
not gonna happen yet.
happens, this is becoming the bastard sport where people stop watching it.
It's gonna be like the Benoit thing.
Hunter is doing everything he can to put asses back in seats. And the problem is now, like, as long as he has control. Remember, I don't give a shit what anybody says.
Vince is
That's
hanging
Vince's
in the
company.
background.
It's still there.
It's still his
Vince is
company.
still there.
you know?
Until it gets sold and the person who buys it goes, we don't want him a
Well,
part.
Vince isn't gonna want to do that. He's gonna sell to somebody and let him stay as the CEO. You know,
Well, you can see it. Anytime somebody says Vince
I
is
think
gone,
if
you
Vince-
get an angle, what happened, you go, that's got Vince right
That's
now.
Vince, yeah.
Vince
I
has to
think
die
if
for Vince to
Vince-
go way forward.
If Vince sells that company, you're gonna see it take a nosedive.
Yeah.
Because
I don't think I necessarily agree with that.
I think that they bitch about him.
But
Here's the thing.
He's
The
not
whole
gonna,
thing
he's not gonna
about
sell
him,
to somebody unless they let them keep him as the CEO. That's what
right,
he's gonna
but I'm
make.
saying if you sell to the Saudis, which is the big rumor and all this shit, they don't want the women.
Right.
They don't want like the whole
they-
thing.
and
with-
they've got
what's
a
his
bad-
name, Sammy?
Sami Zayn.
Sami Zayn, yeah. He's serious.
Which is
He can't
one of
go
the
there.
hottest.
One of the hottest guys in the
there.
company, yeah.
Okay, so you're gonna dump your hottest baby face because of.
And they'll have a bad public image just
Right.
because it's Saudi Arabia.
Which
is why
I don't necessarily agree with that. I know what you're saying, and I can see it going that direction,
With
but I don't
Saudi
think
deal,
that's.
But because I think they know right offhand that if that happens, it's going to falter like immediately. Like as soon as it's
Yeah.
announced that it actually happened, not like the bogus announcement that
Right.
happened.
That, I think that scared the shit out of a lot of people. Their stock took a dive.
Yeah, it did.
And that right there opened people's eyes. Like the only thing that opens people's eyes anymore is money.
Yeah.
And Hunter, like from the day I met him as John Paul Levesque in WCW. And then when I went back up and did a couple TVs for WWE, he was there. And
Was
he
that
like-
before he was terrorizing also?
Well, no, he was terrorizing.
You probably know him there.
Which, yeah, that's where I know him from WCW originally. And then when I went up and did some TV for Vince's company, he was there and he was like Sean Shadow. And he was soaking it all in. The man's intelligent, you know, and it's like, just look at what he looked like when he started and look what he looks like now,
Right.
Yeah.
okay? And people can talk all the shit they want. It's not all gas. Like,
Yeah.
I don't believe it. Like, he is like the whole thing of working out. It's a science to it and he's figured it out.
Me and Bob,
with his body.
me and
He worked
Bob
out
live
with
like a
Vince.
quarter mile from a gym, and I bet you that gym has never seen either one of us walking in there.
Not since Dino Casanova passed away. I used to go to the gym every day with him. And it just, you know, it's just, you know,
See, it's weird because I do just cardio, but you guys know, like we all did wrestling. So cardio to us
That's more
really
important.
isn't like, you know, I never really was a big weights guy. I walked
honestly, to
like
me,
32
the only thing
pounds
that can
recently,
help you
but-
with this business is road work. That's the only thing I've ever found that helps. And I'll be goddamn if I'm getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning running. Like,
Well, my buddy Bully always says, there's in shape and then there's ring shape.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I couldn't lift up a goddamn, case of sodas, I don't fucking care to. But I can still, at this moment, right now, if we left this table, went to the school, I can still go 25, 30 minutes with somebody in the ring and gas you up.
Yeah.
You know, and it'd be like, I can do that.
I could too if I wasn't crippled.
We did that one night. The Chad just randomly, I showed up one night, there was one training there. And Chad was
And,
like.
and,
"Can I
and he'll
do
do it after
I was
12
like,
beers. And he'll do it after 12 beers too.
He would do it after 30.
He drinks almost as much as before I did for my matches. Almost.
Remember the green room one night? We walk in the green room and Chad comes in with his bag, right? Sits down, unzips it, and there's a case of beer in it, ain't nothing else.
I didn't bring anything else.
Yeah,
in my.
case of beer in the bag, and I'm like, are you kidding me?
Were you
And
at
the lady, how he got busted because the beer he was drinking, she didn't have in that bar. And she went lunatic, like crazy.
We did a show for Kobe Pro when it was at a middle school. And me and Blood each walked into a 30-pack. And they're like, yeah, I don't think you guys should bring that in there. So we just
Yeah.
drank in the car.
The last show that I did was for, not the last show that I did, but one of the last shows I did was for Brian, little Brian Hardy, my cousin. And it was Caracol,
Yeah.
like, well, you know, it was his license or whatever. And Nikolai was on the show, and fucking that idiot. He walks by, he's like, hey, what do you got? I was refereeing the match today.
He's the one who yelled at
he
Stevie
threw me
Riggs for
off.
eating a slice of pizza before his match.
Dude, the one referee tried to stooge me off the Rambo. Because he was one of Samu's referees. And he went to John, he's like, hey, John, you know that he's drinking, right? And John's like, yeah, he drinks every show. So what?
Yeah, what the fuck, man? I mean, you know,
He's an alcoholic. What do you expect? He
do
still
what you
goes out there and
do,
he still
what you do, man.
he still put titles on me. It's like he didn't trust
Like,
me.
are you telling me they didn't let the Sandman go to the
Right,
ring?
exactly.
You know,
If
yeah.
the Sandman wasn't drunk, it wouldn't have been Sandman.
That's it.
Like, that's.
And I'm not drunk either.
Well, and with that, and we're gonna wrap soon because I'm gonna let you guys go ahead and get ready to get back on the road. What we were talking about a little bit earlier with guys who did crazy stuff and talking about drinking. Blood, who's one of my best friends in the world, and I don't think I'll ever we were talking about this a little on the way down. They just put Blood in the EWA Hall of Fame thing. Blood requested for me to be a part of it. He requested for Socrates to. Jim didn't let that happen.
I'd request to not be a part of it.
I'll tell you how fucked he is.
Hey, just because you're not into
I
it,
did it
don't
the
get
correct
salty.
way. I wanted to stop by and see Corey.
Yeah.
I've known Corey his whole career. I was his first match. I just want to stop by and say hello. So I do it the right way. Get in touch, hit up his boys, his top guys, and say, hey, in fact, it might have been you.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, I just want to stop by. I don't want to work. I don't want nothing to do with it in the back. I just want to come see the boys. And when Jim said, oh, I don't think that's a good idea. It's like, okay, fuck you too. You know what I mean? So I just hit Corey up at home and said, hey, dude, I wanted to come see you. This is the deal. I'll never ask him. I could care less.
But with
I don't have heat with anybody.
Why does Jim have heat with you? Why does he have heat with you?
because Jim has heat with everybody.
Because everything that's ever happened in the past, he can't let go of. But I didn't do anything wrong.
And
And
he's got his own
he
freaking.
screwed me
he's got
how
his
many
own
shows
stuff.
that never paid us. I don't give a shit. If I didn't want to do it, I wouldn't have been there.
Yeah.
You know, my thing is like right now, the independents are on fire.
Yeah.
And you already said it. If people watch this and you want to come out and you want to check out an entire amazing weekend of wrestling, check out MCW 25.
Probably gonna go there, hang out with
Um,
myself. Yeah.
Chad's not booked, so don't come
figure out-
expecting
I'll
to see
get
that.
Chad
He's
there
been a
sometime.
stamp or what's trampoline.
The reunion.
I'll be out next.
The
I'll be out next time
reunion
to
of
autographs.
the Slackers minus Chad.
Yes.
Chad'll be back to the building sign autographs.
For independent wrestling fans in Jersey, PA, whatever, keep your eyes open. We're doing a place called Perryville, Maryland. We're doing Hollywood, Maryland. We're doing Joppa, Maryland, of course, which is the RJ Meyer Arena. The building was renamed after Bruiser after he passed away. And they've just got towns all over the place. People are calling and requesting to do shows, but it's kind of like they got to fit it into their schedule. You know?
They don't have enough
Um,
talent.
Good problem.
And
Is
if you
it
want,
talent?
yeah, there's guys. He's got right now. I'm gonna say 50 students.
I would say 30,
Like
30,
they're
40.
they're always there. They have 2 different classes running. You know,
But
they
they're
have.
strict though. They make sure their students show up.
So he's
They make
taking
sure
the
not-
school serious.
It's not like most places. I feel
Oh,
sorry for most.
it's nothing like I've ever seen in Maryland before. Like it's
I
all
don't consider
business.
them an indie for. That
I'll put it to you right now. If you were good and you were in the Indies, that's where you want to go.
It's a pipeline. It's a
Just
pipeline.
because
to the
it's a
big time.
pipeline.
Black Magic is
Right,
there now.
right,
They
yes,
left
he
them
is.
whenever.
I texted Dan when I heard Lita in her Hall of Fame speech
Yeah.
mention about sleeping with Dan Silva.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, but I'm the one that trained you. But
We
she's
talked about that in the
putting
last
over-
podcast. I was like, yeah, she only played top guys.
she's putting over-
It was funny because with that blood, there were times I would work blood and blood. There were some shows where he would drink so much before we got, especially those free shows at the school. There was one time I wrestled Blood. He was so drunk, I was terrified. And he's my best friend.
Well,
Because
you know,
Blood's
I
one of those
just
guys,
said-
he's not gonna say something ridiculous that he wants you to do. He's just gonna do it in the match.
And when Blood gets
because he
drunk,
thinks it's funny.
when Blood gets drunk, he turns a little gay too.
Yeah. Like,
I love the guy.
yeah,
I'm telling you, gotta bring him back and make him the postman then. Make him the killer postman, like the
Yeah.
fucking Texas.
He's a
Chainsaw
he's a
Massacre.
postman now?
yeah,
Oh,
he
nice.
delivers mail, yeah.
I love the last, pretty much last show that I did with me and you teamed up
When we
against.
teamed in
Yeah.
Pennsylvania against Ruckus
Like,
and Rob.
dude, it was so great.
Yeah.
Cause we were going over the match and they were talking about putting the heat on, me. Like, all right, we'll put the heat on Chad and then whatever. And then I looked, I
And then
stooped,
he tagged me.
I stooped Bob off. I said, no, Bob, how about this? Put the heat on you.
Yeah.
Cause I'll come in with a hot tag. Like I'll come in all fired
And you'll
up.
get all the
And
sympathy.
and then I realized, I said, Bob didn't realize that I was doing it because I ain't gonna do anything.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna be in the ring for like 6 minutes, you beat up by Cheese and Ruckus, whatever. And I'm just sitting there fishing for the hot tag, and they went for that. And it was the first time and only time that my wife ever seen me work live. And she's like, "You didn't do anything." I know.
Story of my career.
Yeah, believe me. I know. I made Bob lay there and get beat up.
And we had a blast. I mean, I actually got hurt in that match, but it was not by their fault. Robbie came over on his hands and knees to cover me and put his knee in my ribs.
Oh, it was Robbie, it wasn't Jimmy?
No, it wasn't it. Robbie. But when you see guys have the best matches, in my experience, most of the time they're really good friends.
Oh, yeah.
You know, because you can get away with a lot more of that.
Exactly.
Oh,
Trust
yeah.
the guy more
Um,
too.
And today I watch these kids, like it's amazing, even at like the gym, MCW gym, nobody drives together.
Yeah.
They all drive apart. There's
It was
no.
always be Blood and Cypher.
The best part of the business.
And what- that's how you learn in the business was on the road, literally.
Yeah.
And that's missing. I listened to Jim Ross, and it was an older podcast. I downloaded, it was like a 7-hour Starcade thing. He told about all of the Starcades. And like he said, if these fucking cell phones are like, everybody's got a phone in their
Yeah.
face.
Playing video
How about
games.
talking to each other?
Exactly.
And what did you do wrong last night? Or did it go really good? And
You were
what-
talking about dumb
Right.
stuff.
Yeah,
You were
we're
talking
not
about the
the same
business.
When I was
That's-
when I was working in Memphis and in Arkansas and stuff, there'd be 4-hour drives
Yeah.
where me and like Bull or me and Terry, we'd book 3 months in advance. We'd book a whole entire,
yeah.
whole program. We got 4 hours, sit in the car and talk about this. I mean, I don't like that idea. What could we do?
Yeah.
What do you think is, how can we
You know,
change that?
I would have been able, when I was wrestling, I would have been able to kill to be able to travel with Bob.
Mhm.
It's just the amount of questions I remember when
Dude,
Jake came
trips,
in.
the trips to Atlanta, Georgia,
Oh, boy.
12 hours. And after the guys all went to sleep and woke up,
Yeah.
and Bob was still driving.
Yeah.
The stuff that you learn on those road trips, so is stuff that the kids of today don't get.
Somebody had a birthday the other day. Sherry had a birthday the other day. And I commented on the post about the best drunk driver I'd ever seen. I have never seen anybody drink as much as Sherry. And then get in the car and we were following her. And then
I was in the car with her. I know. You guys were in my car.
she was driving like, 100 miles an hour.
Bro,
all
100
over
miles
the-
an hour. Got a map, which new kids,
Oh,
young kids don't know what
Don't
that
even know what
is.
that is.
And she's sipping seeds as she's going down the road, driving with her knees. I miss that lady. She was such a.
Dude, she was
Class
the best.
act.
Dude, I think,
Class
I mean, out of all the people that I've ever got to hang out with, like outside of the business, that are in the business, I think Sherry she popped right up. If somebody were to ask me,
Before her time too, like as a female
Oh,
worker.
yeah.
If she was around now, she'd be the top girl in the business.
Yeah.
She'd kill the girls now.
Yeah.
Right.
yeah.
Her and Luna. both.
But not to
Yeah.
upset anybody, like, if I had to pick 2 people, and I have many, many friends over the years, like, I love them all to death. Chris Candido and Sharon Martel. And, it's just like everything else.
I'm not a Candido guy.
Well, no, I'm talking about.
I'm
his
just
story,
not.
Business to
No, I mean,
him
I
about
never.
angles and stuff. Chris had a mind for the business because he loved it so
He
much.
refused to put you over.
And
I'm not a Chris Candido.
No, just not a fan of his work or as a person.
Just not a fan.
Okay.
and then
I'm
another,
sure there's a story there. What else sometime.
another guy that
All the feds.
Okay. Well, if Axe is involved, you know it's
And
trouble.
that was another one, completely wasted.
Actually,
Axel Rock
Dude,
was
such
so
a
brilliant
mind for
into
the business.
Yeah.
So good
And
for mind.
it's just, he couldn't get away
I
from it.
learned so much from
Me
Axel.
too.
A couple of times he would come down to the school.
I worked it when I was 19. He put the whole thing out. It was amazing.
Yeah.
I've seen it all. I've seen it all from Axel. When Barry had the ring in his house, when Axel was
And that was Miami Brian.
like 17.
Yep.
Or whatever.
Right?
And I would work out with him, and I seen the whole entire evolution of Axel
Yeah.
from the.
Yeah, you said when you met him, he barely even drank or anything, right?
He didn't do anything.
He didn't do anything.
Well,
When
like,
I
I-
first met Axel, he did nothing.
He was driving
He
a
had
Ford
like this
Tempo and a
weird
roll.
hair out to here,
Yeah.
like it was like the Bush thing going on and stuff. And then I don't even remember how he became Axel, to be honest with you. I forget. Like,
Wasn't that
They
Ricky
gave him the
Lawless?
gimmick in WCW, wasn't it? When they gave him
No,
the-
it was Ricky Lawless.
Bad Boy Ricky Laws. I guess, yeah. I mean, his first show, when I got the name Hollywood Bob, it was actually Bob Holly. And Bob Holly no-showed. Well, since on the card it says Hollywood Bob, my name's Bob, I'll just take that spot. And then I put Star with it. And Axel was Miami Brian.
Miami Brian.
And then he started the Axel gimmick, and he could do the accent so well
Yeah.
that people believe that
Yeah.
shit. You know, like, and it's strange because there's gonna be a spot in my home when I'm finished redoing it that I have his Hall of Fame plaque from the NWO.
Oh, nice.
He didn't show up that night, and John gave it to me to give to him, who passed away before I could get to him.
Oh, wow.
And it's
Is
weird.
that Brian? But he knows shows Brian.
No, Brian.
He knows shows Brian.
He never showed a lot of things towards the end.
And I have one of his knee pads, the original ones he had made,
Really?
the very first one.
I had a chair there for a while that Axel actually hit me with one night. Like,
No chance.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
No chance I was taking that chair.
I felt that for 4 days when he gave me the chair.
And it had such a,
A
his
crease in it.
thing,
Yeah.
crease in it. I had it for years, and I think we moved, and my dad ended up getting rid of it or something like that. But I was like, because I was still super young when that happened, and I thought it was super cool. I was
The
like,
greatest chair shot I've ever seen live, was Balls Mahoney and Doyle and Butterman. When
Wait, who was it?
Doyle and Butterman, it was for a dentist show, MEWF or whatever. When Balls pulled the chair out and he hit like Doyle, like 'cause they were like doing that jabroni security thing. They were like skinny, like
Yeah.
black guys, and they were like doing like the security gimmick.
Skinny black guy.
Yeah, and like the one guy turns around, like Doyle turns around, and Balls just fucking hit him so
Oh,
goddamn
it's
hard.
hard.
It killed him. And the best was whoever the other guy was, Butterman or whatever, had to hear it. And then
I know he's getting that.
yeah, and then the expression on his face when he turned around, and he's already in cringe position. He turns around and was like, "Oh no!" And Balls made sure that it was every bit as good as the first one, and they both just dropped there. And I just remember seeing that, going, "That's the fucking best chair shot I've ever seen."
The same thing EWA when it was me, Blood DJ, that threw it, and he almost killed. Remember, he almost killed DJ with the chair shot. DJ had
What?
the brain. Yeah,
He almost killed me with
well,
a
no,
chair.
remember, DJ had the brain surgery, so
Yeah.
he gave DJ the shot, and then I was supposed to take it. And I'm like, oh fuck! And he gives it to me, and I did like the Terry Funk stumble cell. Blood's like, why didn't you bump? I was like, Blood, you hit me so hard, I forgot to bump.
I'm a chair shot guy.
Yeah.
Like I've learned a long time ago, they don't hurt. Like
Yeah.
If done
If
correctly.
done correctly.
Well, I mean, if you hit you with the flat of the chair, where your ass sits,
Yeah.
and they hit you, it doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they tilt it and you get the screw or the little corner, yeah, it'll hurt.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll feel it. It doesn't. I'm like, hit me hard. I'll take a chair shot.
Blood hit me so hard with one once. It was one of those things where like the chair dented and it stayed on my head, and I bumped with the chair on my head. I didn't feel it at all. I probably feel it now, knowing the fact that I don't remember certain things, but you know,
That's
Yeah.
I came into the business at a very strange time because when you were training back then, they beat the shit out of you.
Oh, yeah.
They wanted to know if you were
you
gonna
get
do
the
it.
shit beat out of you for like 6 to 8
It was
months.
still kind of that way at Brainbusters though. Well, certain guys like Joe.
Well, the thing of it is, you wanted to see if you really had the heart
Yeah.
that you wanted to be a part. B, you didn't give up the secrets of the business back then.
Right, right.
Yeah.
You know, I don't like, I don't lie to, I mean, 1988.
Oh, yeah.
The tail end of it.
But the thing of it is just like now, when people, I watched a student walking through the MCW gym the other night, and I was just shooting some photos of the students. And I'm watching this guy. I'm watching this guy's face. And just simple shit, they're like, and I'm thinking, oh, they got you, like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, wait till you realize if you ever get to that chance, but you can't train people like that anymore. And you can tell the difference.
Oh, I wouldn't, when I trained, when I was like finishing up, even at EWA, like I wouldn't work with anybody that was brand new. You had to know how to hit the ropes. You had to know how to
That's-
bump. I was
When I
not
was
teaching
training
you
there
that.
before I left, I told Jim, I don't want to work with the guys who are just starting.
I can't
I
do
want
it.
to come back and crisp guys up.
Yeah.
Guys who are learning and teach them how to physically do these moves.
I called it
until they
finish. I
understand
called
where
it
they come.
You're a
finishing.
finisher.
Yeah,
You're
I
a
call it-
finisher.
Like if you wanted me to come to your school, like I did it
Yeah.
for free for Jim and everybody.
Yeah,
I called it, if you're working with me, then I saw something in you and I'm finishing you up.
that's what I do.
Let the other hand bones like teach you
Kind
how
of
to
like,
fall.
for the longest time, like in the early '90s at WWE, if you worked with X-Pac,
Yeah,
as he walked through the curtain, Vince and Chief and the rest of them would just look at him, and if he nodded, you pretty much got a job.
yeah.
He walks through the curtain shaking his head, you're done.
Oh, yeah.
It's a kind of a measuring stick.
Like, I got that from Paul. I got that from Paul. I didn't know it. I didn't know that I was that guy. I cost Damien Demento a job at ECW.
Because you walk back shaking your head over.
Yeah, because Paul
Yeah,
came,
I didn't like that
like
meatball fight last
Paul
night.
came over to me and asked me how it was, and I just kind of shook my head like, ooh. Like, oof. It wasn't good, and he wasn't there. And then I didn't realize that Paul was putting me with all the guys that he was bringing in, like he was just trying them out. So,
Looking back on it now, though, I can see that, because I remember all the guys that you worked.
I'm like, how many guys stayed? Like 5, maybe that I just. That was cool, But a lot of guys, I'll just get back to the locker room and be like, oof. That was ugly, man. And I let them do their shit. It wasn't me saying, all right, I got to get my shit in.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, okay, you're here to spotlight.
It
We're
was the way the
spotlighting you.
Brooklyn Brawler was. Like,
Yeah.
he would get a little bit of offense in here and there. He still knew psychology, but it was mainly him
If
making
Steve
sure those
Lombardi,
guys.
that time from the early '80s, walked in the dressing room and said, "No, I guarantee you're done."
Yeah.
Like in the water.
Yeah, you were dead in the water. There was
Oh, yeah.
nothing you could do. And
Barry Horowitz, same.
Yeah, Barry Horowitz.
Same way.
and people make
Harry
fun-
Gibbs.
They make fun of Barry because of the whole jobber thing and
Yeah.
stuff. And
You ever seen his house?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I never considered a job or a job. I've always considered them enhancement talent.
Well,
Because that's
it's
what
not
they're doing.
just
They're
that, but
enhancing the talent.
The thing of it, there were some
Well, you're
guys.
doing work,
Well,
Joe.
no,
Like,
there
that's-
was
yeah.
some guys that were the drizzling shit.
Yeah.
And we would see them. It's the
Oh, some
guys
that
you would
could
see
tell was
all
the
the
first time ever in
time.
the ring.
Right, like, of course, everybody can talk good shit and they get booked once and they come there and they shit the place up and they're gone. When you saw guys like me, I was there every week.
Right.
Chad, when Chad came to WCW, they loved him. All except for the thing he had the Dave Meltzer newsletter in the dressing room. Other than that, they loved
I
him.
don't think I've ever heard that
Like,
story.
because he can work with anyone.
Yeah.
My spot with Jody Hamilton, honestly, was with most of the big guys. Because it's not that they can't work, but they work a certain style and they needed somebody that could take the moves, not get hurt, and be able to work them more.
Unless it was Vader, right?
And I would bring in a fresh crew all the time, make sure I would get all the guys off the indies. There was a couple of guys I'm really upset that I didn't get a chance to take that really could have did good
Yeah.
and could have did something, but like Julio Sanchez, that's how he got down there. I took him down.
I love being a jobber.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't refrain from the word. I don't think it's insulting. Like
You can't have wrestling without jobbers.
I was a jobber. I wasn't a jabroni.
actually,
Made a lot
you
of money
can.
being
Well,
a
here's the thing. You can have wrestling without job guys, and you know what it makes? Wrestling stars.
Yeah.
You know what it makes when you had the job guys? Superstars.
There you go.
Because every week you saw these people come on TV and they would go through their rundown of whatever they do, like Booker T was
Warrior,
spinning around, whatever. Well, Warrior really didn't do anything. I remember we were in
Take the
Canada.
ropes, clothesline slam.
We did a loop in Canada. I'll never forget it. At like 4:00 in the morning, we're in this goofy ass hotel, and Barry Hardy is running down the hallway, banging on every door in the hotel, waking people up. He's on the front page of the newspaper with the Warrior. He's over the.
I have that. I have
And I'll never forget that. And like, Barry, how was it?
It was upper state New York.
No, it was Canada.
Well, that's what I mean.
It was Ottawa, New York.
Yeah, but it made the New York paper.
Yeah.
I have Barry signed a copy, like to my good friend. And here's Barry and he's doing the classic, you know, when the guys like they post themselves and they're straight stiff as a board.
Yeah.
Like he's up there, like stiff as a board, and the Warriors hold, and it's like in front of like 19,000 people, the ultimate warrior, and then in the little parentheses, slamming Barry Hardy or whatever. Yeah, you made it, man.
That tour, I'll never forget. We were up there for like a week, and it's funny. I wrestled with the Road Warriors a bunch of times.
Yeah.
But for some reason, I was at the Cops Coliseum in Hamilton, Ontario, and we went out there, and they were doing that stupid shit with that puppet, Ruckus.
Oh, yeah.
So the way it went down, and I didn't have to read the board at the time. I was brand new, and you know, you're working with the Road Warriors, so I'm instantly shitting myself, right? So right before the match, I didn't know they were going to do the live with me and Gene. You know, they had this big square thing they would build, and they would walk up the steps and do the live interviews.
Yeah.
Well, they go up there and they forgot that fucking puppet. And halfway through the interview, they stopped it, made them walk in the back, and then come right back out and do it again. They're pissed. The fans booed them because they're saying the same shit, right?
Yeah.
But Vince was classic. If you didn't do it the way you wanted it, he would make you go right back out and do it again. So I'm in the ring with Bobby Knight. I don't know if you know who that is, but it was one of the little guys. Yeah.
Yeah, this everybody.
Walk around with his chest all stuck out, and it's like legs lifting around.
God, I know everybody.
So we're standing out there watching them do this interview, and I'm going, oh, we are so fun. I'm going to tell you something. I've worked with the best, and I would say the best to me was Bobby Eaton, Ricky Morton, Ricky Steamboat.
Shawn Michaels, right?
Shawn Michaels.
Ricky Steamboat was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like
And there was
gave you
act-
spots.
There was
Like, he
actually
gave
a
Bob-
fucked up move in that match, and he was so smooth he completely covered it. Unless you know,
Was it Andre?
no, it was he did a sunset flip, and he didn't want me to come over. So I started instantly as soon as he came over. I'm waiting at it and feeling like tugging on my legs, and I'm like, and he just
Orlando,
did,
right?
just went into it, yeah.
I remember that.
those
It was
guys-
actually good.
Those were the best guys in the business at that time.
Yeah.
Because that's the one thing when they hear older guys do these interviews, that's in my time. I'm not saying of today,
Yeah.
although Ricky Steamboat could probably outsell 99% of the people out there. And Ricky Short could tear the rest of them. Because Ricky to this day at 60-something years old is still working 4 and 5 nights a week in Indy, making good money, you know, and has been for 20 years. You know, I mean, when was the last time the Rock and Roll Express were on TV getting a push?
Smoky Mountain?
You know, I mean, so, but to this
93.
day, he's still working 4 nights a week. And he's got like a phone book this thick of promoters, and they run all different nights in the South. It's not like the Northeast.
Oh, down with the conventions.
Yeah,
Yeah,
all
all that
that
money
shit.
off of those, yeah.
yeah. But the Rock and Roll Express are coming to an end.
But the Road Warriors, what happened with that? You didn't tell us.
So okay,
I think
we're,
that's
we're,
over for a road.
we're sitting out there, and no, it was so we're sitting out there, and I'm talking to the referee. I'm like, what are we doing? Like they're doing like the people like what the hell? So as I'm saying this, so Ned walked in the back. Boom, the music hits. And let me tell you something, when that whole little rush shit started, and that place.
That's why they call it the music. Road Warrior
And
pop.
there's 20,000 people there, dude, your stomach just drops out of your head. It's like, what the hell? And I remember they threw me out, and when I hit the floor, I heard something pop, and I'm going, oh, I just broke my neck. Jesus Christ. And I'm going, fingers still work, I can still move.
Did you
And
land on the dummy?
No, all I hear is, pow! I went, what the fuck was that? And I crawled up on the ring, and I looked over the top before I got up there, and it was Bobby Knight in the corner. Well, he walked around all day with his chest all sticking out. And Road Warrior Hawk walked up to me and said, stay on the outside for a couple minutes, kid. So I'm at he lit
Bob's
his
like, no.
ass
Hawk
up.
like the chop, too.
Lit him up. And it was like, but those guys, like, there's no one like that anymore.
Till to this day, I've never seen my favorite story was the Bob Invader.
Oh,
We always give money.
Yeah.
Never avoid the
every
Invaders.
podcast, that's gonna be brought up at least one.
But
That's
it's
my favorite story. It's the greatest thing I've ever.
Well, maybe Chad and New Jack's in there too. I mean.
Well, I mean, it went. Me and New Jack really didn't have a beginning
No.
before it happened. Bob had the Vader gimmick where he's smoking, so then he's like, he has to go out and work him. You know, that was like every time.
Well,
Like,
in all honesty, too, if you remember, that night was the night that he dropped the belt with Simmons, and he wasn't happy.
Oh, it was that night.
Yeah, I was part of the night that Ron Simmons won the world title, and
I was there.
I was there the night that Vader broke Joe Thurman's back.
Oh, wow.
I was there the night, I saw Leon do some really crazy shit. And it was like, that was the only thing I said no to. I did a match, they booked a match with me and Scott Demore against Vader. In Atlanta. And it was funny because me and Scott looked at each other and Scott was booking all the Canadian guys. He was booking Edge, Christian, Rhino, all them guys. I was getting all the guys from like Philly, West Virginia, Maryland, whatever. And we're like, what the fuck is this, a rib? The two booking guys and you're going to kill them with Raiders? And I walked in the office. I said, Jody Hamilton, I said, Joe, you know I'll do anything for you. You know I can do it all. I said, I'm sorry, I can't do this again. I said, last time I got in the room with him, I couldn't hear for 2 weeks. I said, it ain't worth it. They called for Leon, told me to get out of the office. It was just a little bullshit thing that they set up. You could hear him in there screaming. He didn't touch us that day. Like, and we saw our asses off. But it was just the thing. That was Leon. He was heavy-handed. He did that shit with Shawn Michaels, and that wasn't going to play.
Well, I remember
That's why he never got the title up there.
I remember Alex worked in the MCW.
He was scared to death.
Yeah.
He came to me.
He said he was gonna have a blade in his boot just in
He
case.
did. He had a
He
knife
did.
in his boot when he went to the ring. He didn't cut his
That's what I
head.
heard. That's what I heard.
I couldn't make it to that show. I was booked doing the clown somewhere, and it was so funny. He came to me backstage somewhere, and he's like, Bob, what am I supposed to do? I'm like, fall down a lot, sell a lot. I said, but when he gets you in the corner, bro, fuck it, just cover your ears because that shit hurts.
Yeah.
So what's the story with Vader and Paul Orndorff? Was it a clean shot or a cheap shot?
Doesn't matter.
That was.
I don't think it matters.
That was out of the 3-year deal that I had, where I was down there every week. That was the only day I asked for off. I wasn't at that show.
I
Wait, I've heard it was a cheap shot. I've heard it was a clean shot.
I totally believe that Paul Orndorff just knocked.
Oh, he
Yeah,
knocked the
absolutely.
piss out of him. Paul Orndorff.
But Vader claimed it was a cheap shot. He wasn't looking, so who knows?
Well,
So my
you
loss
know-
against Vader, it was a cheap shot.
But you know why he wouldn't have seen it?
Well,
Because he would have been being a dick and look down or look away.
Right.
You don't look away from Paul.
right.
You know, number one, it's a lack of respect.
Right.
You know, and at the time, Leon thought he was big shit,
Yeah.
whatever. I mean,
And that kind
But-
of killed his
but
career.
what
He
did
was
he-
never the same after
well,
that.
what did it cost him?
Everything.
He never got the world title with Vince
No.
because Sean.
John wouldn't work with him.
Yeah, I mean, what the hell? Ric Flair, I'm sure didn't like working with him either.
But that was also during the time when Sean was
Very
like,
unprofessional.
he was being Sean.
Yeah.
Like, the old
Before he
Shawn.
lost his smile.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
I know all
King
about
is
that.
smart.
Let me
And
tell you
Vader,
something.
Vader should have been the top heel in the business.
People can say whatever they want, and I don't talk shit about the man. I thought he was one of the best.
Best work I've ever seen.
But I'm gonna tell you what, Randy Savage's elbow was 100 times better than Sean's.
That yeah.
It
that-
didn't crush me on live television.
Oh.
Yeah.
You know what I
And
mean?
Savage was a lot bigger than Sean too. It was
Not
muscle,
really.
back then, muscle wise.
I'm muscular, yeah, but they were both, bro. Neither one of them were
Bobby,
big
you have
guys.
all your stuff on tape.
Most of it.
No, I was gonna say, if you didn't, I
Who's
would
you
do.
want him to have stuff on YouTube? Is that you? Somebody's been uploading old stuff. I don't know who it is. They put up me and Eagle against like Lunar and Sand.
Apparently the entitled
MEW,
the title history.
Yeah, no, I did
title
put up like a
history
couple
is-
of
okay.
matches, but
Okay.
the files are
That's
so
how they
big,
found
I
what
can't.
title you guys
I
had for that grant.
Claude's gonna teach me how to do all.
If you got any of this stuff from like '99, you got to put it up. 'Cause I've never
I-
seen any of
It
it.
all depends on what my girlfriend.
I don't know how to do it. I mean, I have it all.
Okay.
I don't know.
If I've never seen like my
I
first
don't-
6
If
months.
you guys can get it put on a thumb drive or onto a hard drive, I'll upload all of
I
it.
have it all on
He,
DVD.
dude, he has every.
And so many of those guys are
Let me
blind
tell you,
now. They're able to
everybody's still
Like
watching. If you've
laptops,
ever,
right?
if you're into the boys and you're looking for your shit, that's the man to talk to.
I have everything.
He's got more DVDs than the fucking DVDs.
I got to ask you. You probably got some of my stuff.
Oh, I got,
Every
like,
indie show.
I don't-
every
I don't
all
even-
Japan
I don't know if it's tens of thousands,
Wow.
thousands, or whatever it is. I just know that they're all in 100 DVD spindles, and there's a whole
There's
entire,
hundreds of them.
there's a whole room full of them.
So
1982, man.
You got like the cornet room. You got the same thing.
Oh, I got,
Actually,
I-
he makes
I sent-
cornets.
I sent Cornet shit.
Yeah. Who did you just get the tapes from? You got the master tapes from WCW.
Mike Tenay.
Mike
Oh,
Tenay.
wow.
wow.
Like
He
today,
got
just
master
sent me.
tapes.
Wow.
That say World Championship Wrestling.
That's cool.
They have the leader tapes. They have the black
Oh,
Oh, really?
for the commercial break.
Oh, wow.
Like the tapes are like an hour. Like they're not like regular tapes.
Yeah.
They're called leader tapes.
Mm.
They're all like 1 hour tapes. And then it has where they had the breaks for the commercial.
Yeah, they would
stuff.
bicycle that tape around, and then the local TV station, when they would play
Put
it,
in their own
they
commercials.
would put whatever commercials, and they know where the blocks are. It would just, the tape would go to black.
Yeah.
Then they do their shit.
Yeah, I got all that.
Fades
Dude, I got
back
a
up.
ton of shit.
I'll tell you what's best. I looked it up. There's only like 7 or 8 matches on YouTube. One of them's against Butch. Of all things, of all things.
Well, with all that being said, guys, this was great. Be always. We're gonna go ahead and
Next
get
time,
ready
can
to
it be
wrap up.
warm and sunny and outside with no noise?
Naked
It was gonna be outside, but it rained.
Oh, yeah.
Weed's gonna be legal.
Bro, God, yeah, weed'll be legal.
That's
by the
right.
next time we
That's
go.
right.
We can burn one.
I think I'm gonna try to do one again soon, and I think I'm gonna try to do Eagle, Steve Riggs, and Derek Frazier.
Bring
So
us
I
in.
think that-
man.
yeah,
Oh,
that's
what
Here- Here's the thing, most of these guys I don't get to see. I don't get to see you that often, you
Yeah.
know? And it's not because we're not friends, it's
Yeah.
just our lives go in two different directions. And with my regular job sucks. I work in the middle of the night, but the reason I still do these and stuff, there's so many people that have come up to me and go, you know, my favorite part about the veterans is the stories.
Yeah.
And I'm going, you stupid fucking asshole. It should be learning from us, not just listening to us.
Yeah.
But if
You
you
learn
keep
when
your
you
mouth shut, your eyes open, you're gonna learn a whole lot more.
You
And
told me
these
that the
kids of
night I
today-
met Jake. You
Yep.
were like, no matter what Jake says, you sit down next to him.
Yep.
And I remember you telling me that.
You listen to
And-
everything the man says, because here's the thing. At that time, and it's no big secret, Jake was having issues at that time.
Yeah.
And it's like, if he's telling you stuff, he's gonna remember what he said.
Yeah.
He may not remember what you guys talk about, just follow his lead. The man is a major superstar. And even at that time when he was at the worst time of his life, and congratulations to Jake
Good
at
work.
Dallas.
Yeah.
Dallas helped him and Jake's doing great. Unfortunately, we lost Scott Hall.
Yeah, Dallas's
That
program,
sucks.
I've done that so many times.
Yep.
Right now I'm down 32
Yep,
pounds.
it absolutely
It's
works
awesome.
100%. But and it's, here's the thing, kind of like the muscle heads dedicate their stuff in the gym, and there's nothing wrong with that. I was never one. I'm the first one to admit it. But the same way that those guys dedicate the supplements and training and eating in certain times,
Beer,
you have to
cigarette,
do the same-
weed.
you have to do the same thing with DDP yoga.
Yeah.
DDP yoga, I've seen amazing things happen. And everybody knows I've been friends with Dallas ever since I met him the very first time. You know, I actually got to do a little thing with him one time. I was sitting in the dressing room and I was off. And they were looking for somebody to do this Van Hammer arm wrestling bullshit thing. And Dallas was like, well, what about Bobby? And I'm like, oh man, I wasn't even gonna get dressed. Like, fuck. But it was the most fun. You know what I mean? Like Dallas is just such a great guy.
Is there anybody that Dallas is not friends with? Like literally.
Probably.
Oh, we've been trying to get
friends
him for
with
the longest time
everybody.
on the show, but his management keeps on switching up a little bit.
Well,
So
you
as
gotta
soon as we
remember too, dude, he's constantly running and now he's got that place, like literally, I don't know if you've ever done online
Yeah.
classes.
Oh, yeah.
This shit is live every day,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
Dallas.
I
and
have
Nicole.
all this stuff online.
Yeah,
We pay
like these
monthly.
guys, I've never seen dedication.
Yeah.
That's something that's missing in today's wrestling too. Now, I've seen it out of these young kids at the school here lately, but like, when you look at the stars, you instantly think, I'm a star, I don't have to do shit. No,
Yeah.
you're still learning. If you're not learning every single night when you get
Oh,
in the
yeah.
ring, your entire career,
Yeah.
then you're doing something
Exactly.
wrong.
I mean,
Even if you learn who not to get back in the ring.
Yeah.
But
Bob's been in the business longer than me. And I still think every time I get into the ring, I learn something.
I
You know.
always do it every time I ever got in there.
You're dead. I mean, you're literally in life. If you don't learn something every day,
Yeah.
you're dying. You're
Yeah.
dead.
that's what the human brain does. It learns. But these kids that, oh, I'm good, or I'm this, or I'm that, or I got to work here, work there. Motherfucker, you ain't never gonna work a Macho Man, Randy Savage, whether I need a job or not. I learned more. I tell you, the match I learned the most in, and you'll laugh because you were there. It was Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert and Tim Burke against me and Jimmy Sliver.
I had
And listening to Eddie in the back,
Eddie was-
Eddie
I can
did
believe
not
that.
want to be there that day. It was some horseshit thing that Paulie hooked up where they came down and did the afternoon shot, and Max Thrasher's ring was messed up that day. It wasn't actually correct. So Eddie really didn't want to do shit, but I learned more about walking and talking and the importance of the first bump and the last big bump than from anybody in the business.
Eddie did the one bump that he does. The one bump. That's all he did.
That's all I needed.
Like literally, he literally talked. I have the show. He talked. and Snooki just stood there like he was dead. Like,
It was early in the morning, Jimmy had
That's
one.
probably the match on Nikolai. He got in for 1 month.
But the thing of it is.
I
it's-
learned more from Eddie than I learned more from Eddie.
I didn't
than anybody
learn
in the business.
technical, all this kind of shit in that match. But like Chad said earlier, the thing about me is, it's like when you hit the door, the ego goes crazy and they go out there screaming at people and stuff like that. Eddie taught me more that day in 20 minutes
Yeah.
than most people did my whole career.
Yeah.
And the thing of it is, put your shit in your back. That's where a lot of these people don't get it. Most of the people at WWE are trying to use it as a stepping stone. I wanted to be in this business like a job.
Right.
I work every single week. I make good money to do what I do, and I want to learn. I'll never be perfect at it. No one there is perfect at
There's
it.
no such thing
Okay.
as a perfect wrestler.
So, but I wanted it to be a real job, not like this once in a while horse shit.
Yeah.
And it's like the kids of today, all they want to do is go in there and jump on a springboard and go to movies or jump on a springboard and go do this or that. No, I wanted to be there. I was happy being the
Bob, we never had another option. There wasn't another option.
Well, no, because back in the day, you remember when TV was going good, we were busy. Like we
No,
were
I mean, we
working.
didn't have, there was nobody when we were working full time that was going to movies or going.
Right. Oh yeah.
Like we didn't have any of that.
Totally, that's about it.
This is it, man. This is what we
When
got,
Hulk
bro.
went and he did a couple of movies and he did that. What was that weekly TV show he did?
Thunder and Paradise.
Whether it sucks or not, you know what? People can say it sucks because they fucking watched it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what cracks me
They
up.
knew it sucked.
When
because
they go,
watched it.
Bob, your matches suck. Then why are you fucking watching
Right.
it? You must be learning or seeing something or trying to get an idea for something. The younger people of today, all I can tell you is this: keep your mouth shut, your ears open.
Yep.
You're gonna learn more that way. But if you have a question, then you go, if Chad's one of your buddies away from there, then grab Chad on apart and say, Chad, could you explain this to me? Not many times has someone ever asked me to explain something that I haven't took the time to do it. You know why?
Yeah.
Because other people did that for me. And it's an age-honored tradition. It goes down. And as the business is changing and these kids aren't doing stuff like that, you can tell the difference in what you see.
Oh, yeah.
Kids of today can't cut a fucking promo without getting a 4-sheet
Yeah.
thing that you better read word for word.
I
It's
told
like,
him on the way here, I could probably out promo anybody on Jim's current roster.
oh, I
Right
guarantee you,
now.
because
Like,
they don't
without
know what a promo is.
My-
They think you got to hand to them on a paper.
Like one of my last Jerry Springer, or probably my last
We
big
didn't
Jerry
even talk
Springer.
about Springer on here.
Like,
We're still got Springer.
like literally,
It'd be almost as good as my promo on Al Snow.
like,
But
you know,
I-
Why would
maybe
you
the-
multiple of
maybe the
these?
single greatest promo
This
this year.
weekend, I think you held the record, didn't you?
I did 5 of them.
Oh,
I
wow.
only did one. I only
Yeah, you
did
did
one.
one.
I did one. They played that
Yeah.
fucking thing.
Yeah, it was always on.
The last one that I did when I got there, I did it as a favor. And I literally said to the guy, you know how they always want you to like go over what you say, like they beat you to death.
Yeah.
They want you to stay.
And they didn't understand that we don't work that.
And then I literally said, oh, look, I'm doing you a favor, Toby. I'm flying in last minute. I'm doing the show. And he's like, what are you gonna say? I said, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
All you want me to do is go out there and beat this girl up. And I didn't have anything in my head. Like I didn't know shit. I went out there, dude. I beat this girl up. Like I verbally assaulted her to the point where I've never seen. I didn't know that the people weren't smart.
Yeah.
I thought they were coming.
No,
to
they wanted to kill him.
Oh yeah, I thought they were worked. I thought they were planned. So I'm playing off of them, going, "All right, come on, running to the stage."
Yeah, so
You
he already saved his ass. On the
I had no idea.
I'll tell you the
Worst heat you ever got.
your first one with the girl with the no arm.
No, that was like my fourth and fifth one.
He did this one with this woman was handicapped and didn't have arms, right? And Chad sits like a can of Vienna sausages on the table that aren't open. And didn't you open the?
No, I didn't do anything. I wouldn't do anything. I wouldn't open the soda. I wouldn't
Yeah,
open the
he
bag of
just sits
chips.
and shit. Dude, they wanted to kill him.
No, I had no
They
idea.
Rush into
I
the
did
airport.
not-
to
I
get him
did
out.
not know that the fans weren't smart. I thought the fans were smart, and they were like, "We got to get you out of here." We had to take me
Down store, there's out the back door in the limo.
into the basement. Put me in a different car. They moved my hotel. And here I am going, why? They're like, they're gonna kill you. I go, They're not smart. I'm thinking like,
And they have to come downstairs in Chicago. What was the name of that building we were in?
oh, I don't. Oh, it was NBC Tower.
Yeah, so we're in NBC Towers. Everybody comes out the same fucking way, unless you come out like the back garage.
Yeah.
And even with me, all my shit was just talking shit to a female, and people were pissed.
He's still my favorite Jerry Springer.
And it's like, I'll never forget that bitch wouldn't let me keep that shirt. They gave me this purple silk shirt, and they said, you gotta rip it off. And I said, what? They're like, yeah, just tear it off. And I'm like,
I stole everything from them. like literally, they asked me my sizes, but whatever I wore, shirt, pants, whatever, they brought the wardrobe in. And the last time I worked there, I knew that I wasn't doing it anymore. And it was 33 degrees below zero with the wind chill. So I didn't pack anything in my suitcase but a 30 pack. So when they brought the wardrobe in, I just took anything that could off the wardrobe that would fit my suitcase. I stole it all. Like anything I was shoving shit in.
Chad still wears it occasionally.
Oh, I still have it.
Like me in Pittsburgh, when I stole a forks from that nightclub because they wouldn't give us free beer. I walked out with a fucking bag of forks and Bob just looks at me. He's like, what the fuck?
I'll steal anything.
dude, look, I was taught old school. So we do this show with Rambo. But did you go on that one-end trips to Pittsburgh?
He was the first one.
Okay.
That was
So
when
I
we drank the
was always-
23 pitchers of beer.
Yeah, okay, that was this.
The second one was you, me, and Blood in the room.
Well, here's the thing. I was always taught that when you work for a new promoter or there's a sponsor there, always thank them because that could mean the difference when you get brought back.
Yeah.
So the next day I went out there with Buckchild and
Oh,
like,
good luck.
I'm like, we're gonna stop back past this place on the way out of town and thank the guy, you know, I mean, we made good money. I made a fortune in gimmicks.
Yeah.
And like we go in the bar and we come walking in, he's like, hey guys, how are you? Blah, blah, blah. And shakes our hand. You want something to eat? You want something to drink? Take care of us, whatever. And I said, I just wanted to stop by and thank you. Brought you a couple pictures, you know, to hang up on the walls and stuff. And he's like, I have never in my life seen such a small amount of guys drink so much. He goes, we went through more tap beer last night than we ever have, ever.
And you
And I
you
just
never drank all of it? Me, him, and Blood.
That's one of the reasons my liver doesn't work anymore.
It was screwed because I don't know what happened. We went back out there and did a show in a school. in a
It
high
was supposed to be
school.
like a benefit for some kid that died or something.
Yeah,
They
and
screwed
it
John
got-
around.
Yeah,
somewhere.
it got all screwed up. And like, but that guy, I don't remember his name, but that bar looked like it would be a kick-ass place to go to in the summer. We were always there when it was kind of cold. Pittsburgh. And Tom Brady's there. That's
Yeah,
what
Brady.
Dominic DiNucci.
DiNucci was
and,
there, and Tony Atlas was there.
Tony Atlas, Johnny V was there
Yeah.
before he died. Remember he was shilling his book. He had that book.
Also,
But-
what was that old guy that came to all the shows?
Conrad Brooks, the guy
Conrad
from
Brooks.
Light Out Force. He was asking me and Blood where the hookers were. That guy was great. He was like 80. I don't know where John knew him from, but he was like every big show. Just
Oh, you're talking about the dude who did the horror movie.
Yeah,
Nice
Oh,
guy.
yeah, coolest guy, yeah.
But real quick, just, Chad, I don't know if you got people to thank. I just want to, real quick, MCW, we got the 25th anniversary show. We got shows everywhere in the next couple of weeks. We're, like I said, Perryville, Maryland. We're in Hollywood, Maryland. We're in Joppa. Brian Hardy and the MWF or
I saw
whatever
that,
is
yeah.
doing a Hall of Fame in July. Honestly, he's gonna shoot me. I don't remember the exact date. I don't know if he told you yet or not. There's a couple guys going into the Hall of Fame that day, including Brian. I'm trying to think, and I'm drawing a total blank. I should have brought paper, so I memory shorter than my dick.
I mean, you can find me at home.
Yeah, if you want to see me,
We're gonna bring Chad out. We're gonna get Chad.
please come to the park.
And,
And,
and also keep in mind, we're gonna do more of these. So when we do
Absolutely.
the ones, I'm not sure if I can get Derek, Stevie, and Eagle all together at one
We
time.
should do
but
that
not-
at your house.
Yeah.
And you should have a cookout.
Yeah.
So there we go. We can sit there and drink and
Yeah.
smoke and be merry and get some amazing video footage.
Yeah.
With people, if you watch this whole thing, which I doubt most of you haven't watched the whole thing. If you just tuned in late, this is just, all it is it's guys shooting shit.
Yeah.
And it's like,
old wrestlers shooting the shit.
it's over for me. I took up my photography stuff. I've been doing it with rock and roll for years and now with wrestling, trying to make the young kids look good, you know?
Dude, everybody has stories like in their regular life, in their job, and like the wrestlers have
Yeah.
the best.
Yeah.
fucking stories.
Like, this is with the regular podcast I have, like, our podcast balls to the wall.
You get long stars.
Like, I mean,
I dare to bring one up.
I see him post the shit on that.
You were trying to get it to one of Jimmy Seafood, that older chick you kept talking to.
That exists.
What was her name? Summer?
I
Summer
still
something?
talk to her.
That exists because I decided to do this.
Mhm.
I decided to be a wrestler. I know you guys. I know Socrates. I know Blood. I've met my wife
I'm glad you didn't.
because I knew
describe
someone who was a
Socrates as a
fan
wrestler.
of pro wrestling.
Well, I'm just a wrestler. I'm a
And I
man.
Everything I have in my life is because of pro wrestling. That's why I do stuff like this. Every episode, I mention that I'm a wrestler.
And I was one of the few people that I was there tonight. Ray walked into the gym the very first time.
Unfortunately, for a lot of guys.
You were there?
When Drolix walked in, when Kindred walked in, Mason Walls, all of those guys. I remember when
One of the first guys ever got in the ring with Chad. That's why my career turned out the way it did.
But when I'm
It seems it was from Pat Clark. Sorry, man. I trained.
I don't know
Pat.
how well that's gonna work. No, but anybody that's checked it out, thanks a lot. I'm sure we'll be doing another one in the future, just like the last two. And Chad better be there.
Yeah. And I'll have info on when
I'm
that's gonna
alive,
be.
dude.
Probably in another 2 months.
Yeah,
There we go.
So another 2 months.
I always have time.
Where else are you gonna get this many wrestling legends in one?
And we're running short on battery power because unfortunately we had power issues as well. So we're gonna go ahead and wrap
That's
up.
why I said no fucking issues. We're doing it in your goddamn basement next time. It worked well there. You could hear
I
everything.
just love that like, people were dying left and right, like in a wrestling business. Like, dude, I'm still here, man.
And then, me and you are both.
I'm not.
close on that.
I'm not going.
How is that a thing?
Yeah.
How do we? Should we say, pretty much everything I've done in the last couple of weeks is like the Briscoe guys.
Don't you say like Steve with the matches?
The Briscoes, like, Jay was a good guy, man.
Yeah.
Lanny Papa.
I got nothing to say about it. I don't know anything about them.
I did a lot of indies with.
Briscoes were amazing. One of the best tag teams.
They missed their prom to work me and Dina.
Yeah.
Or graduation.
Dude, that guy was such a pain in the man and such a loss.
Nobody say anything bad about him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the last time I saw him, Karen Call playing the show, and he come running up out front, Bob fucking Starr, and like we sat there and talked for like an
They
hour.
were the Briscoes that didn't specialize in rear end work.
They should have brought them into WWE and made them Gerald Briscoe's kids and made them mechanics.
No, they should have made him Gerald Briscoe's rats. Or something that would have been hilarious. But either way, I mean, there's so many brothers that
So many guys.
rest in peace. Yeah. Every time, unfortunately, we do these things, somebody else is gone. But
I'll still
like,
be here, man.
the bottom line is, without you guys out there, there's no need for us.
Yeah.
You know, whether we're still active or not, like the stories hopefully will live on forever through stuff like this.
Yeah.
You know?
And what we're gonna do, we're gonna go ahead and wrap up
That's
here
it.
at Vagabond Sandwich Company. And we will be back in probably about 2 months' time